right.
So we've met before, Mr. Jonathan Mess.
Yes,
Thank you so
sir.
much
Good
for
to see
coming
you,
by.
Brandon.
And I don't believe...
I am Neil Ronahan.
Hi, Neil Ronahan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Your
D-
voice many, many times.
Nice. Well, yeah, I've heard your voices before. You guys have your podcast. And you guys are weekly, correct?
That's right.
Come hell or high water, what will cause a episode of Nintendo World Report to not go up?
Pretty much nothing.
That's right.
It might be
Yeah.
a day late, but
Certainly not during E3 with hot Nintendo news flying all over the place.
No, actually, the most dramatic is when my apartment was flooded with about 3.5 feet of water, and my computer and recorder and everything were completely submerged. And I dug it out and went and got the SD card out of it and put it in something else and got the file off. And all the guys were like, no, don't worry about it. You just take care of your business. And I'm like, no, this show will go out. And we did.
So let's get that guy right in front of you. So make sure to get all of your Nintendo criticisms crystal clear for our audience.
I like how you go directly to criticism.
Well, before we do that, because that's just everybody's favorite pastime, to make fun of Nintendo.
Yep.
I don't know anything about
pitch your show to the guys who are maybe people who are watching right now who are unfamiliar with the Nintendo World Report. What are you guys all about?
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World reporting, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So Neil is the director of the website, my old job, literally.
Yeah.
And we've been around for 16
Since
years.
1999, we have
Yeah.
a Sweet 16.
Wow! Congratulations,
Yeah,
you guys.
thanks.
Yeah.
We're 2002. I was goofing around for 3 years. I could have been around the same time, but
Yeah. So our website used to be called Planet GameCube, and before that, Planet
right.
in 2000 and the N2000 HQ, and also we absorbed the 64 Source and the N64 HQ and lots of stuff over the years.
you
but,
absorbed Daniel Bloodworth for a bit there.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sure
He was
did.
writing for Planet GameCube in the past.
Yeah, Dan was actually a community member and was helping in our forums a lot. And so we kind of saw his enthusiasm, and I hired him to be part of the staff, and he did a fantastic job. And then, ended up doing it professionally here in the industry with you guys. So
These Muppets, man.
They're
Can you
wonderful.
believe this?
Jim Henson Company made
These
it.
Muppets,
it's
bro.
fantastic.
They're pretty cool.
Favorite Muppet, John. What do you get? What's the?
I think the Falco looks the best.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Not
by
even
that.
these three guys. Not the realistic
Oh,
puppets.
no.
Although
but,
I do like the Reggie going Nintendo 62, Nintendo 63, doing push-ups. It's wonderful.
yeah, I mean, do you need? Are they setting a weird precedent with Nintendo Directs where like they need to do something jokey? Like Ubisoft
did
gets
Robot-
jokey, but not like this.
Yeah, they did Robot Chicken last year,
Right.
And had all this kind of interstitials that felt like it could have been like a Robot Chicken Nintendo special. And with this, they did the goofy Muppet stuff, and then had the whole transformation thing, which was kind of their theme, but they didn't really seem to have too many games that felt with that theme. It was really, you had, I guess, Star Fox, you're transforming into a little chicken walker thing.
Right.
And I guess you're transforming in some of the other games, maybe? Mario Maker, you can turn into Amiibo.
To me, the missing transformation.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a little different.
To me, the missing transformation that they really didn't show was, Samus transforming into the Morph Ball. They
Right.
showed a Metroid game that specifically doesn't have that, which is really strange. So even in Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS, all the characters transformed and had kind of their version of the Morph Ball. And I guess I haven't seen that in the new one, Federation Forces, yet.
Excellent transition. What about this weird game? It's like it's one of those E3 instances where you go in, you're just like, Metroid would be really good. Metroid, right? Metroid, cool. And then you see it, and you're like, no Metroid, no. Like that's not what I was talking about.
If they called it
I'd rather have
something
no
else.
Metroid than this.
Yeah, if they called it something else, it probably would have been way more exciting. It's like, oh, cool, a 4-player first-person shooter from the guys who made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Like, that sounds like it could be really cool. Oh, it's Metroid Prime, and you're playing as the Galactic Federation. Like, I just want a side-scrolling 2D Metroid where I can go and find things, collect them, and have power-ups to solve puzzles, all that jazz.
Which is the name Federation Force screams not what you want. It's like a warning almost. You're just like, it's not kind of, we'll put Prime in there so it'll have some association, but don't expect this to be something you've been clamoring for.
I guess for me, I love Metroid to death, and I really like the story of Metroid a lot, but it's not the main reason that I play those games. And so when Nintendo gets new ideas for different Metroid games out of the story, when they say, we really wish we wanted to explore the Galactic Federation and what that means and what's happening outside of Samus, I just think that's not really the part of Metroid that I care about. I would love for you to do new things and explore different aspects of that universe, but maybe not that part of it. But I think this game is fun from what we've played, the multiplayer blast ball competitive thing. I really wish they'd let us play the more cooperative stuff. That sounds a lot more interesting than blast ball. But I'm looking forward to it. I like Metroid Prime Hunters. I like Metroid Prime Pinball. I like the multiplayer Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. You know, I think that's really fun. That's also a lot deeper than what we've seen so far in Blast Ball. So I'm totally open-minded about that stuff. I just kind of wish they had announced this and also a different Metroid game that felt a little more familiar and a little more pushing that formula in a different direction, you know. So I think it's just this in the absence of something that's maybe a little more what fans were looking for. The combination would have been really potent.
And that's the unfortunate thing, too, is that through some of the interviews throughout the week, it kind of came out that, yeah, this is the only Metroid thing we're working on, or at least Metroid Prime. I think the comment was that, like, oh, it'll take us about 3 years to make another, like, a Metroid Prime 4, so that'll probably be on the next system. And that's disappointing because...
Very nonchalantly
Yeah,
said that.
yeah, just like, oh yeah, you guys are going to have to wait even longer. It'll be 8 years between a traditional Metroid at a minimum right now.
Yeah,
So,
it's like the 90s all over again.
So one thing that I really appreciate, guys, I'm very grateful for, is we still have 33 minutes left in E3 2015 if you're going to the show floor. You guys have obviously gone to the show floor. Were you there all 3 days?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you were so comfortable with all the content that you were going to see that you're like, you don't need to be at the show right now. We'll cruise all the way out to game trailers and hang with you guys and chat about stuff. Did you get your fill of Nintendo?
The big secret is that as a Nintendo website, we basically have Nintendo's booth and like 3 other things in the entire rest of the show.
This.
So
We're
pretty cool.
There's not really that much quantity to cover at E3 for us. I mean, it used to be different back in the GameCube days. Back then, we were going around and complaining to all the third-party publishers that the GameCube versions of their games seemed kind of missing features. They didn't have the online stuff. They just didn't look as good in a lot of cases. I wish we had those problems now, because now we don't even have appointments with those companies. They have nothing to show.
Yeah.
Or if they do,
well,
it's
with
just...
Activision is the one that you could check in on because
Yep.
they got the Skylanders crossover.
Yep.
And
Which
Guitar
one
Hero
is- and
Live.
Guitar Hero Live, which both of us
This
saw.
is true.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about that Skylanders thing, I actually didn't like process. It was like when I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit and like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse are on the screen at the same time, and then it's like, oh, it's a cute scene. And you think about it later, like, wow, that's pretty cool actually that they were able to pull that off. And you know, it kind of made sense that you're like, oh yeah, these are both figure games, and so of course Amiibo and Skylanders would have some crossover. And then it's like, but wait a minute, they're enemies. Hold on a second. You know, like in a sense, like those are really heavy competitors in this industry. So it's cool that they're both. You see the picture, of the head of Activision and Reggie, like holding, Hirschberg, and they're holding up the figures, and it's like, I guess that would work out well for both of them. That's a smart play.
Yeah,
Are you
and
excited about those?
It makes a lot of sense too, because Vicarious Visions, who's developing this year's Skylanders game, they have a big history of working well with Nintendo. I think they were the first with one of the Guitar Hero games on Wii. They were the first game to have DLC on Wii, and they've made wonderful Game Boy Advance games. They've been doing that for I think 20 years at this point. And we actually found out that with the Skylanders thing, it all started where when Amiibo was announced, then Activision was like, hey, maybe we can do something with you guys. And then it all kind of went from there.
How do you guys feel about Amiibo?
I don't know.
He's a hater.
I host a weekly podcast called Radio Free Nintendo, and we're talking about Nintendo stuff all the time. And people always seem to want us to talk about Amiibo, and I say, I'm not that interested, because when you hear people talking about Amiibo, all they're ever talking about is the process of acquiring Amiibo, like not what they're doing with the Amiibo. And I think really Nintendo hasn't shown a lot of very interesting substantive things for you to do with those. I'm not really into toys and figures. It's fine if you are. It's not my personal interest. My show's about video games. Amiibo aren't video games. They're really kind of very expensive DLC keys. And most of the DLC that they're unlocking is not really anything I have interest in. I don't feel like I'm missing out when I don't buy them.
It's really easy to explain.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what does it do in Mario Kart? It does this.
Yeah,
Yep.
it gives you
And-
skins.
and the
Yeah,
story,
with Chibi Robo, you get a supercharged Chibi Robo, and I guess that's cool.
There's just not that much to talk
Yoshi's
about.
Woolly World, you get to make him look like a nightmare.
I've got a
That
question
Mario
from
one is
chat.
terrifying.
Yeah, the Metroid one for me, I was like, why do you have a yellow? Oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yoshi's Woolly World is such a beautiful game, and the amiibos just make. I mean, the Yoshi amiibo is great because it adds the extra character, and it's kind of like the Double Cherry in 3D
Yeah.
World, and that's
Right.
fun. It kind of changes up the gameplay, but all the other ones, they just make Yoshi look really ugly in like one of the prettiest games I've ever seen. I don't get the point.
My wife has a thing. She gets together with a friend of hers, and the thing called Bad News Bears, where they craft, and it's like called Bad News Bears because they mess up whatever they craft, and like that's Bad News Bears, Yoshi Woolly World for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So he doesn't like Amiibo. Does that mean you do like Amiibo?
I'm kind of a recovering amiibo-holic to a degree. I've long liked Skylanders and Disney Infinity. I've always thought they're pretty cool. I've covered the games, and I think Skylanders is a really fun game. I think
is.
Disney Infinity is a really fun game. Lego Dimensions looks great. So with Amiibo, I was kind of a little cautious because there wasn't really game stuff to it. But then there's a part of me that's like, I like Nintendo. I kind of want these little figures on my desk. So I figured, okay, I'll get a couple. Oh, they're going to be hard to find. I guess I'll just try to get all of them. And then I can pre-order this Lucario. I don't like Lucario at all, but I could pre-order it, so I guess I'm going to do that too.
That's the thing with me in collecting, man. Like once you put your foot in the deep end, the Kraken comes up and grabs and yanks you all the way to the bottom.
I'm not all the way done, but I'm basically, I'm still getting some. I actually have one of our staff members found a Lucina and Robin right before he got here.
You got Silver and Gold Mario?
No. I kind of, with the most recent one, because I was one of those idiots who went to GameStop when they had that ridiculous pre-order thing that everything was broken. So I went during my lunch and then left and then went back at the end of the day so I could get my Ness and my Splatoon trio, but I didn't get some of the Pokemon from the last one, and I think I'm kind of at a point where I'll buy what I want to buy. I want to get that Game & Watch because that looks cool. The Duck Hunt one looks cool, but I don't need to get all of them.
It is funny. Like, it's an interesting when you make these characters, much like Infinity, kind of like, dipping into the Disney franchise, Marvel and Star Wars. Like, what is the straw that breaks the camel's back? What is that one Amiibo? You're like, ooh, like, I don't know. Like, for a lot of people, is that Yoshi, that Yarn Yoshi, which I think is a little off. I don't know, like off kilter compared to the style they've used for a lot of the other Amiibo, and that kind of like a through line is really what I like to see in a lot of these campaigns. As a collector,
it's a lot more appealing to me, actually, the style of it. I mean, my sister has a couple of young kids, and I look at that and I immediately think, well, I'm just going to buy 3 of them, 1 for me and 2 for them. I'll use it in the game, and it'll be nice to have around. But I want it for the figure, and not because of what it's going to do in the game. And really, that's that and maybe Chibi Robo, just because he's life size.
Mine is KK Slider. I don't know why it is. I don't know, for some reason, they were showing those. And I was like, KK Slider. Yeah, I got
a question from chat. Can I ask him?
Let's bring it.
All right. So they asked this a while ago. So sorry I didn't get to you. One last word, which I actually thought I saw you make a question yesterday. He asked, should Wii owners keep faith, or should we just cave and get a 3DS if we want any games?
Oh, you don't already
huge
have a 3DS?
Yeah, huge 3DS chunk of the show. It's like the middle of the show.
Oh yeah, you should already have
the direct.
3DS.
Yeah,
I mean, 3DS is a great platform.
It's a pretty dynamo platform.
Started kind of rough the first year or so, but since then it's been really good. And Nintendo's support for 3DS is much stronger over the next year, maybe even beyond that, than it is for Wii U. So I'd say, yeah, I think you're crazy if you don't already have a 3DS. Go get that for sure. I mean, I think you should also get a Wii U if you don't already have one. Wii U is worth having, but it does feel kind of like a stunted platform. I mean, it's going to have a shorter life than most of Nintendo systems, and you have to really want Nintendo's games because there's really nothing else of note, for the system. So you better get that.
There are some great games on Wii U, but they're just kind of few and far between, and all there is Nintendo. Like with third-party games, you'll have your Skylanders and your Just Dance, and I guess Guitar Hero Live's coming to it, and that's cool, but there's just a whole lot that's just not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to, unless you're a really casual gamer, I think it's hard to, and by casual I mean not that you play casual games,
every other day, every couple days.
Or maybe you only play on, Friday nights, or you only play when people come over, that kind of thing. Regardless of what games you're playing, if you just don't spend that much time playing, then you could get a Wii U and just, that would be enough. There's enough games on it to satisfy you. If you're kind of a person who plays games every single day, you might want a Wii U and a PS4, and an Xbox, and a PC, and then it's a good extra platform on top of something else, because the games you're going to be playing on it, you can't get on anything else. So it's easy to justify if you play a lot of games.
Right, and you still get the whole Wii library, which is also pretty big.
Oh yeah.
If anybody hasn't played the Wii games, you still get Wii Sports. So that's what I would be doing.
And you can still use all your old controllers.
And you even have the Wii Sports Club with the updated HD versions of Wii Sports.
Hey, there we go.
I finally got a Wii U for last Christmas. Got it for my wife. But it's funny. I feel like I really got it right at that time when the library was finally locked.
Yeah.
I thought Pikmin 3 was going to be it. I thought that was the game that I was going to finally buckle and get it, and it just didn't. My demand for
it's
it.
It's a great game.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and I've yet to get to it, but got it and got Treasure Tracker and Tropical Freeze and 3D World with that, and just amazing.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8 as well, of course.
That's really where the whole platform crystallized.
Never been good at Smash Brothers. Never been good at fighting games.
But it's still fun.
So it's always something. Yeah, it's always something that I play through another friend. I'll go to their house and play it, or we'll have it at work, and we'll do some online sessions. Good Smash.
I love Smash. Yeah,
Good at Smash. I didn't ask if you love Smash.
I'm good at it in a kind of a weird way because I've been playing a lot since Melee. I played a little on 64, but Melee came out when I was in college. Had a roommate.
Oh, yeah.
We played for we played for an hour every single day after school for like 2 years. So I got really good at playing against him specifically, and after a while, we kind of get bored playing with the same characters over and over, and we came up with this idea that we should just both play random. And that way it's different every time, and you end up getting pretty decent with all the characters, but you're not necessarily like a master with any particular one or two. So people always talk about what's your main in Smash Brothers. I'm like, I don't have a main. I like all of them. I like to play with all. I like some more than others. I'm better with some rather than others, but you can get a lot of time out of Smash Brothers. I mean, you can play it for years and years and years if you just kind of let go of your preconceived notions about what's like the proper way to play it. Just let it run wild, and it's different every time. And then it's like the slot machine. Every time you turn it on, you just kind of let the numbers roll. However it ends up, that's Smash Brothers today, and it's great.
Yeah, I'm the same way with that. I'm a random player with that. I have a couple characters that I guess I'm okay with, like Lucina, Game & Watch, but nothing. I'd rather play random. That I like the randomness of Smash Brothers, the kind of the ridiculous action that happens when, like the soccer ball item, I feel is very indicative of what's great about Smash Brothers, because it's just this thing that shows up and you hit it and it bounces all over the place.
Do you think that's kind of like the blue shell of?
No way.
There is literally a blue shell in the new one. So.
Right.
Yeah. No,
but I mean, a lot of people complain about Mario Kart that there is that kind of randomness to it. But at the same time, like it is so chaotic that is kind of it. Like if you lose 8 times in a row, don't feel too bad. This game's just nuts. It's not necessarily like, oh, you really need to work on your Mario Kart skills. I clearly need to work on my Smash Brothers skills, but there also is that element of just unpredictability.
I mean, the blue shell in Mario Kart. I think the thing that's annoying about it is that it's kind of like a skill-less item. It's a fire and forget. It doesn't matter if you're in last place, and also if you're in last place, the unfortunate thing about it doesn't really help you. It helps the guy who's in second place, who will never get it out of the items anyway. So and until 8, there wasn't really a good way to avoid the blue shell either. Now there's one item that you can use to defend against it, even though you probably won't have it. But it's just like there's really nothing you can do about it. In Smash Brothers, I feel like virtually every item is balanced so that if you know what you're doing, you can always stay away from it, you can dodge it, you can counter it. There's always a way to do it, and it's based on your skill, and that's why I like random, because it kind of makes Smash Brothers into a game about dealing with whatever may come. Like you just have to be like open to, okay, I'm just, whatever the situation is, I can handle it, I can figure it out, and you're improvising all the time, and Mario Kart, I love Mario Kart, but that's not what kind of game it is. Mario Kart is a party game primarily. It's everybody has an even chance. It's a little more like Mario Party, where it's like it's a bit random who wins. If you take players of equal skill, there'll be no consistency at all, and who ends up winning.
What do you think about Amiibo Party?
I don't think about it at all.
Is it like the Mario Party thing or the
Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
In their direct, we might have just passed it, or we might be.
Yeah, like the Amiibo Festival game.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
It's apparently free to play as well. So
What?
Okay.
Now I can pay for it?
Well, you pay for it because I don't think you can play it unless you have the Amiibo.
Yeah.
So you are paying for it. It's just the game itself, you won't be paying for that. I think that they might be having like a bundle in stores where you get an Amiibo or 2 with it, so that way you can actually play the game.
That hurt, man.
Yeah,
that hurt. I'm waiting. I love Animal
The
Crossing
only
so
way you
much.
can get KK Slider is by spending $99.99 now.
Oh, excuse me. I have to step off the stream for a little bit. I'm getting ill. So yeah, it's kind of funny. We can maybe like talk about these things as they come up. So we have this like Four Swords meets Final Fantasy 3 thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds like fun. That's demoable on the 3DS in multiplayer.
Yes.
So they got like little stations where all the 3DS are set up there. So
yeah, Triforce Heroes
Make some friends.
Is a lot of fun. I mean, it is exactly 4 swords with 1 less player. It's 3 swords. If you've played Zelda 4 Swords, it's the new one of those, and it's really good.
Which does factor into the Triforce. It is called Triforce Heroes. So it does make
But it's like
sense to
weird.
have
There's
that.
a space between Triforce for some reason. It's Tri-Space Force, and I don't really know why. We don't.
They're retconning the spelling of
And
their own
apparently
made-up words.
The Japanese version is like the Triforce Musketeers or something like that, which I wish that's just what it was called here.
That's a good name.
But they love, the Japanese companies love that. They love to take a title and just like, nope. Like Final Fantasy, like sometimes Final Fantasy's on the front of the title and sometimes it's on the back of the title. Like, you never know. Yeah, it was interesting that I must confess the GT crew was not like super stoked on this. I thought it was really interesting because I loved Four Swords, I loved Crystal Chronicles, I loved like any interaction, fun ways to set up multiplayer and use that second screen so you could see things that the other people you were playing with can't see. So I don't know, maybe I have a lot of fond memories of that, which is why I could potentially give this a chance. Was it difficult at all, the demo that you guys played?
Yes, it's hard to coordinate.
There's
with
4 different
other people.
levels, and I mean, like the first one's like the forest, and that one's a little easier. But then I never beat the fourth one because we'd be going in even with 2 people from our site, and we're a bunch of people. We are Nintendo will report. We're a bunch of people who've been playing Nintendo games for our entire lives, and we're still thwarted by the being able to coordinate by fighting these bosses at the end.
And the bosses, plural, like were there a lot of different encounters in the demo?
Like they have, there's like one of the big, what are they called, like chews or something, the slime-looking things.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think that, and there's one where they're throwing a bomb there, and now we have the director and a new bomb on the screen. And the Gush Jar stuff that was just shown, like that was really fun because you had to shoot people over there, and everyone has a different weapon, and you need to all work together. The one thing is that you really need to communicate, and when this game's online, there's no voice chat.
Is there going to be online?
There is online.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Online, download, play, local wireless.
Yep.
You can even play it single player.
So you're at Nintendo. Why this? Why is this? What is this filling some? Are we like so hungry for
filling a
Zelda
gap.
that we got it? Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you can kind of see it where, okay, yes, with Ubisoft, you have a new Assassin's Creed every year. Nintendo doesn't really have like the same style of game like that every year, but if you've noticed, like with Pokemon, we've ostensibly had a new Pokemon game every year. I think there might have been like one off year in the past decade. With Zelda, they did have Majora's Mask earlier in the year, but with the Wii U one being pushed to next year, they still want to keep Zelda, known and people talking about it. So it looks like probably some segment of the team or maybe the entire team that did Link Between Worlds. It's the same director working on this, kind of make this, and it seems to me it's more of like let's keep Zelda relevant this fall because we're not going to have the Wii U version.
Which sucks,
It
does
suck.
Well, and it's always, that's one thing that fascinates me. Here at GT, it's like at game trailers, it's all about the sell, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just keep like revisiting that theme, and so it's rough when you see them talking about the project and you wonder like, are you selling this right now, or are you legitimately talking about, like we had the Rocket League guys in earlier to demo the game, and it was just so fun to talk to them because they were so excited about it, and they had so many great answers to questions. And you see this, and I actually got to be honest, and I'm curious what you think about this at Nintendo, but when they were showing off Yoshi's Woolly World, they had all the amiibo like on the floor by like the file cabinets, and like here, like it's kind of fun. We got a cute little like Link, stand up in the background and stuff, but it's just like, what do you think? The selection process when they're just like, how about this conference room? Yeah, let's just do it in here. Like the amazing Zelda preview that we got at the Game Awards was just in like an office. It was just in this like completely unassuming spot. And it's just like I've seen like lesser developers, independent developers, like put a cool backdrop up or something, something that they can kind of like, decorate the room and make it a bigger thing.
It all just depends. I mean, at the same time, in the digital event that Nintendo did for this E3, you had Miyamoto out at the shrine talking about I've heard
awesome.
I've heard that story before, but I've never actually seen him at that location talking about it. But drawing the fox on the piece of paper, and he's walking through the red arches, and that's where he got the idea for flying through the arches in the first level, Corneria. So I thought that was great. I'd like to see more maybe on location stuff. But yeah, if it's going to be yet another video of someone holding a yarn Yoshi thing talking about this game that was announced like 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah, we did get that 2 years in a row. We got someone holding a yarn thing, being like Yoshi's Woolly World. It's coming out soon, maybe.
Right. Yeah. I have a question for you. This isn't actually from chat. Me and Kyle were talking about this earlier. He disagreed. But my opinion is that I think Nintendo, and you guys can give me some insight on this, Nintendo's actions feel like they're 5 years behind. Like,
that's kind of how they've always been.
Like, like the move to mobile, they could have capitalized on that a long time ago. And then we get into the Wii U era, and they still haven't figured out the online portion. They haven't figured out. I mean, it works. It works, and you can voice chat and all that, but they don't capitalize on the multiplayer. Star Fox could have been a great chance to be. We have online co-op for the first time ever
That would
in
be the way
Nintendo
to do
Wii.
it.
Yeah, that
System seller.
would have been so cool.
Yeah, you get four
too
main
bad.
characters. They always fly together through these missions.
Exactly.
Have each player plays it. Someone has to be Slippy. That's too bad.
Yeah,
but-
hey, well, I'll be Slippy if I can play with Brandon. It doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that is a bit of a missed opportunity. Then again, I've never thought dogfighting in Star Fox was like the greatest part of the game, so I'm okay with them leaving that part out and focusing more on the campaign. But yeah, cooperative makes a whole lot of sense. But Nintendo, my biggest issue with Nintendo is they've actually gotten their online infrastructure up to the point where playing their online games is easy, it's fun, it works well, it's very smooth. You get in pretty quick most of the time. With like if you look at Splatoon, they're updating it a lot. They're responding to people's requests, and they've Smash Brothers I think runs really well. We had a whole tournament with our entire staff. It was this amazing logistical challenge to schedule it and put everything together. And Neil did live commentary on all the matches.
Well, not live. We would record the matches, and the only way we could do it, because there's no way to kind of stream from that, is that we'd have one person have it set up to record, and then they would jump off the edge and die, and then we'd have the two people fight, and then me and another guy from the site, Scott Thompson, we would both then watch that, and I had laborious notes about like who was playing good as one character, and then I'd commentate over it.
Yeah. So, doing it the way we would like to do it always ends up being way more complicated. You have to have a computer with Skype open, or you have to have your phone open and talking to someone over that. And I wish it was just kind of all built into the game. That would be the more Nintendo way to do it, right? Is it's just all one package, and you can do everything you want to do with the game, and it's just all right there, and it's easy to do. Instead, it ends up feeling a lot more complicated to play these games the way we're used to, playing on other systems.
My nickname for Nintendo is the fine print company. It's like every time Nintendo announces something, you're like, oh, that's cool. Wait, okay, well, how does that work? And they're like,
You're
like
always
this. And
waiting
you're like,
for the
oh,
asterisks or
yeah,
something.
you're waiting for the X to fall. Just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay.
They've bred a whole generation of extremely skeptical fans like me.
And
who
I
would
think-
just every time they announce something, I'm always waiting for the catch. I'm always waiting for how are they going to screw this up? And it's great when they don't. It's great to see them actually pull this stuff off, and they're getting better about it in a lot of
I
cases.
see people asking in chat. We are with Nintendo World Report. That is a fun podcast. Where can people find you guys? They can just Google that, obviously.
Yeah.
But is there a more direct way?
NintendoWorldReport.com. You can also check us out on YouTube. Our channel is Nintendo World Report TV. And then there's also the podcast that Johnny's the host of, Radio Free Nintendo. That's been around, what are you guys, 400 plus episodes?
Oh yeah, over 430 episodes.
Which we got to get on. You do that Sunday nights, right? Sunday
we
nights you
usually
do?
do Thursdays.
Thursday nights? Okay. Dude, it's.
I know. I
just
really
feel
would.
bad. Like
I'd love
we
to
literally
have
just
you on
keep
it.
going back and forth, and like we were so close one time to actually doing it, but then of course you get like anything like a month before E3 is just like
Absolutely.
hands off. But I keep thinking up new ways to be pissy about Amiibo, and I just thought of a new one, and I'm really happy about it. But it's a good example of like what's wrong with that system. Like I went to go check out Skylanders Supercharged for the first time. I sat down, and they were basically like, vehicles. I'm like, oh, cool, let's do it. I get it. Like you can give me the fine details, but you literally just say that that word, and I got it. I can imagine.
Skylanders
basically
been great at that, where it's just like,
Yeah.
here's the one in traps, giants,
Yeah.
swapping the characters, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think the swapping was my favorite.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
really
definitely.
amusing.
Same with me.
The traps was also clever, but and then you have Lego, and they literally were just like Back to the Future. And you're like, cool, got it. Okay, I know how that's gonna work.
Dr.
Infinity's literally just like Yoda, and you're like, okay, cool. And this one, they're like Wii Fit Trainer, and you're like, what? Huh? And you're like, but what? And so you like have to dig for this information. It's like, yeah, but what do I get? What do I get from this game? What do I get from this game? What do I? It's
Have
like
you seen the compatibility chart?
It's
oh no, I
ridiculous.
bet that's just like
It's
it's
intense.
like the periodic table.
Yeah, it is.
But they, and it unfortunately like undercuts a lot of these potentially awesome announcements. Which, for example, we're getting every single fighter from Smash Brothers eventually. But then fine
How
print.
the hell are you even going to get them?
When? Yeah. How are we going to get them? When are they going to be launched? Does that mean you're going to try to support Smash Brothers on Wii U for like the next 2 years? Because I'm assuming that's going to be how long it's going to take to like R&D these
actually- I think
figures and
they're-
actually release them.
They might be like close to, they're at least halfway done with all of them.
What,
like,
the
I think,
Amiibos?
Yeah, for the Smash Brothers one, I think they're at 30 plus at least by the end of the year.
Ugh.
They'll be very, very close to having all 50 out,
Mm-hmm.
and even the DLC ones. I think they kind of they snuck in early 2016 is when we'll get like Ryu, Lucas, and then U2 Amiibo.
Doesn't that just feel so disgusting?
A little bit.
It's just like,
Only if you're obsessed with buying all of them.
I
which you
did the
shouldn't-
math.
You shouldn't be.
I did the math back when that fateful April day when the ridiculous GameStop pre-order thing, and that to get all of the Amiibo that they had announced, you had to spend I think close to $900.
Yeah, but that
that was not even
even
half of the Smash
yeah.
Brothers characters. So probably if you want to get every amiibo that's been announced so far, you're probably looking at $2,000.
Don't get it twisted. The amiibo world is rough out there. If you're trying to find some amiibos, it is rough. They price gouging.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy.
But guess what? We're back to talking about acquiring.
Yeah.
That is amiibo. When you talk about amiibo, that's what you're talking about. Is what you're getting. How can I get it?
Nintendo price gouging? No. I didn't pay $600 for my Wii or anything.
Yeah, I that's kind of the disappointing thing about like this digital event. People were a lot of criticism about the way Nintendo handled that, and it's weird because if you think about it, they have the most control over how they handle their their press conference alternate substitute. And I understand why they want to take it off the stage, because they avoid so many problems that the other companies are just, deadly scared of all the time, about someone dropping a controller, the game crashing, people booing. There's 1,000 things that could go wrong in an event like that, and they completely get away from that. But what are you doing with it? You're making these puppet videos that are very, very cute, but they take up a lot of time.
A lot of production value in those.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cup of money. Yeah.
Absolutely, but like, is that selling games? Is that getting people more excited for games to doing a puppet show? I don't think it is.
Is the Nintendo World Championship getting people excited for Nintendo games?
Yes.
How was that?
I thought that was excellent. That was.
Do we want this to be a tradition? Just everything. E3,
Yeah,
E3
absolutely.
starts
I
Sunday
would be
morning
down
now
for that.
officially with the Nintendo kicking their championship off.
What I would do is do it every year and open it up much more globally, rather than have almost, I think, all but maybe one contestant were American.
I think all of them.
Maybe
were.
all of them. Yeah, that's
Maybe there was like
terrible.
one Canadian snuck in. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but I mean, it's a kind of a pilot program. If you look at it that way, it's like, okay, I get it starting small, expand it out, make it a bigger deal, promote it way more in advance, give people much better opportunities to qualify for it and participate, and then maybe just show your digital event video to that audience while they're there, and you're going to get even more people who want to come and be there at that moment. And even if it's all pre-recorded, to be in the room with other people who are just as excited about what you're seeing as you are, that's fun. Sony's already figured it out. They're doing it in movie theaters all over the country. People just want to sit down and watch these videos with other people.
Have you applied for Nintendo? Have you applied yet?
No.
Please, PR department.
No. There's a lot of very smart, good people working at Nintendo who have these same ideas. I mean, I'm not telling them anything that they haven't heard before, and they're always fighting with Japan.
That's the challenge. It's always working with Japan, and I know. I think I've heard this a couple times where it was comparing like them to Sony, who Sony's also another Japanese company, but the way that Sony runs is that each, Japan, Europe, and America, they're all kind of separate entities, so to speak. They have autonomy. With Nintendo, everything goes back up to NCL, and then Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe have to run everything up that ladder.
Do you see other journalists that have like company-focused websites or magazines or podcasts or something that maybe are attempting to use that as a way in? So if I'm working for unofficial PlayStation magazine, is it like, yeah, it's a day job, and yeah, I'm a journalist, I'm trying to break into the industry, but specifically, it'd be great if I could get a job at Sony. Like, did that ever come up, or did you ever?
I think that happens, but I don't know that most people are really planning for that. I don't think that's the intention. I mean, we're a volunteer site. I've been doing this for 15, 16 years as a volunteer. I'm not in it for anything other than what I'm already getting out of it. As I like to do it. It's fun for me. I like to play the games before they come out. I like to talk to the people who make them. I like to write things. I like to be involved. I like to talk with other people who understand these things and who are interested in all the minutia and all the strategy. That's fun for me, and most of the people in our staff, I think that's what, or they're doing it to build up skills, just life skills, public speaking, writing, editing, PR, video editing, all that stuff. I don't think it's really about breaking into the industry so much. And the more I'm around the game industry, the more I don't ever want to work in it, really.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great, does it?
No, not really.
The last 5 months before a game comes out, that doesn't sound like a good time at all.
It's not so fun at all.
E3 prep?
I think the games industry chews people up and spits them out for the most part. To me, the working conditions are not that great, and I think they take advantage of people who are just so enthusiastic and they want to work on something so bad that they're willing to give up a lot of the things that people in other industries take for granted. And I don't know. I don't really want any part of that, so it's not for me. But I have great respect for the people who do it, and they clearly do it because they want to do it.
Definitely.
I would say that just look right behind you, right here.
I can
Or you can look right here.
No, look there.
That is just the epitome of Nintendo right there. Let's shoot this in an office in front of of Yoshi dolls. This is what we have.
Yeah.
Let's get this person talking. This isn't
I think she made all of them herself.
She made the original
Yeah,
ones.
she-
Yeah.
like I want to know who Nintendo talks to. They don't talk to you guys.
No.
They don't talk to the fans.
I don't really think they listen to us either.
You know, I need to know who they talk to because this is just the worst representation of a video game ever. You thought the game is still 5 years away. You think it's still 5 years away. It looks like a Kickstarter.
The one thing we were joking about was, they did like the little stop motion thing with the amiibo at the beginning. Where they're like, "No, to talk about amiibo," and like the graphic was amiibo,
Yeah.
like all moving around. It's funny because like it is cute and it's fun to like see all those and how you can color coordinate them and stuff. At the same time, like what a slap in the face where they're just like, "We're swimming in these amiibo.
Look at all these
like
parts."
look, we got all these. Okay, put them back in the closet." People at home are like,
Yeah.
shut up and take my money.
I'd say Nintendo
Like this
in
right
general
here, like what a
is-
bait, It's just like
Yeah.
she should literally at the end of it just kind of like lay on them and be
She
like,
lights them
"Woo."
all on fire.
like lights one, and like
Laughing.
lights her cigarette, throws it behind her, and it blows up. The cockiness of multiple amiibo.
Did you see the yarn Bowser in the background?
Yeah.
That's probably a
That
future
whole-
amiibo.
That diorama is pretty cool.
What'd you think
actually.
about the Mario yarn Yoshi? I think Don can agree that it
The mu-
looks
with the mustache?
It's
It
terrifying.
looks
It's
it
terrifying.
looks disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't.
Some things shouldn't be amiibo. That is one of them.
But you were speaking of Super Mario Maker. You were talking about the arches with Star Fox and like going to that location, revisiting that story, and everyone's so damn nostalgic about Nintendo. It's like I've heard this story 10 times, but tell it anyway, Miyamoto.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care.
I'll listen to him talk about anything.
How about those early sketches, that
Oh my
grid
God.
paper that they
Oh
brought
God.
out? I mean, which I'm curious to get a poll. Like, was that real? Were those,
Totally.
Was that it? I
Yeah.
mean, one thing that I did like that they said is they're like, we found this. And so it's kind of fun for them to like go through that old stuff to be like, could we learn from this? And with this, how about, oh, look at this. It's like, I picture it in sepia tone, with like, only at 12 frames per second. And he's like going to his office, like, look at this. Yeah, you like that moment. That was impactful.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, at 30 years of Super Mario Brothers, you think about it, games were made so differently back then
Yep.
that, yeah, they did use graph paper. I mean, I'm sure they did. They didn't have all the, game tools. Unity didn't exist back then. Maya didn't exist back then. Photoshop didn't, I mean, they had to invent the way, and those early games especially were basically coded by hand. So, yeah, I mean, Miyamoto is an artist. I mean, he's not a programmer. He's not a, an engineer kind of a guy. He's not a software guy. He's an artist, and he starts with hand-drawn illustrations, and he figures out a way to bring those to life through the magic of computers. So I think that's exactly how they did it back then. It was really cool.
It's like his, Mario's mustache helped define his face structure. Otherwise,
Yeah.
his face would have looked weird. His hat, so they didn't have to worry about hair animation.
Right.
It's fun to like look at all those things that you think just like, oh, it just makes Mario as perfectly iconic as it is, and it's like, nope, actually, he was just like working around performance and code and stuff.
And I think some of those sketches are actually with Mario Maker you'll get like a little booklet with a bunch of stuff, and I think some of those sketches might wind up being in there. And even if you buy it on the eShop, apparently there's going to be like a digital version of that you get with the game, which
Oof.
I want to see some of that stuff. That it seems fascinating.
Yeah, just cut that out and just have that up
Yeah.
on your wall. That'd be fantastic.
Yep.
There's something about World 1-1 that you just want to do. You just want to build. A Dying Light last year had a World 1-1 Easter egg. You can go in first person and hop around World 1-1.
And they even explained the majesty of World 1-1. Was that during the digital event? Or was that,
I like that. He talked about how he kind of tricks you into picking up the
Yeah.
super mushroom because at first you might think it's an enemy, but he puts the bricks over your head so that when you jump up to avoid it, it knocks you back down and it makes you touch it, and then you realize, oh, actually this is good. I want to get this. I mean, it's so brilliant, and a lot of it just comes
I
from.
just think he's Muppets, man. This is so good. We
Did
wanted more.
Did you get to see him at all on the show
I
floor?
didn't. Did you get up there?
Yeah.
That was upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they brought him out on the show floor for like Wednesday at some point. But yeah,
Damn it.
they look really amazing.
Well, it is the perfect time to
Yeah.
reminisce about what could and could not have been at E3 2015. You know why? Because it's over
It is
right now.
Well,
right this very minute.
6
Ding
o'clock.
dong.
That's it, everybody.
The end.
That is not the end of our stream, but that is the end of E3 2015. The doors are closed.
suddenly feel
right on the
way
next
more
speaker.
awake.
Ladies and gentlemen, E3 2015 has ended. Please make your way towards the exit.
Have you guys
The monitors are shutting off.
played this Yoki Watch? Or
I actually that was one of the last things I played.
Oh, was it?
It's kind of funny because it's hidden on the show floor. It's the whole Nintendo thing that they've been doing for the past couple of years, where they just have random women walking around with 3DSs attached to them, and that's the only way you could have played Yokai Watch on the floor. But anyway, it does. I mean, it's very Pokemon-like. It seems like it's going to be something that at least Nintendo wants to see it be huge. They're probably talking to retail partners and stuff like that for the toys, the anime, everything.
But was the game? Did you like the game? Not what's it gonna be, but the game itself. Did you?
It seemed fun. Like
it seemed fun.
It was kind of basic, at least in the demo was basically you have to go look for these yokai, and the way that you do that is you have to go and like basically seek and find in the environment, and then it goes into this battle screen that's this weird thing where there's like a dial on the bottom screen.
Okay.
You move it around, you have 3 of the little guys at once up there, and then you attack by like pressing them, and then you have to like trace a shape or spin really quickly.
Okay.
And that kind of seems like that's all it is.
Oh.
And it seems like a kid's game, and I don't know if it has the depth that Pokemon has.
I heard isn't it huge over?
It's gigantic in Japan.
Yeah.
It looks a little spooky. It looks like you could capture some of those things that you're just kind of...
There's this one guy, I think...
like a Suda 51 game where you're just like,
it's
what?
like Manja Pig or something.
Now
and
we're
it's
talking.
this
Man,
weird,
Bear, Pig?
Yeah, it's something similar to that. But it's like I did an attack with him, and then you just see, like, because then after you do the attack, then it like has like a dramatic action shot of them. And it's just this like weird looking like pig thing, and he's got this old man face, and it's horrifying.
Speaking of horrifying, not to jump ahead of a different game, Kyle Bossman thinks this looks atrocious. He thinks the juxtaposition of the RPG characters with the paper characters is just not having it. Because he said, you know, the RPG characters are a very interesting style and they're very charming, but you put the paper character next to it and it doesn't work. It just kind of falls apart.
I think it makes the Mario and Luigi characters look bad because the paper characters are so much more stylized.
They're so crisp, and they have such a clear style.
Yeah, to me, it's just more of an indictment of the 3DS version of Mario and Luigi. Even the last one, the characters just don't look that good. There's something about the kind of claymation sort of CGI style of them that I don't
he's
really
done.
care
Max,
for.
you're gone. You're out.
He's
Saw Max's song came in. You didn't want to get in front of the camera and just wave, bro? Are you heading off? Is your workday over?
You guys seem like you're talking about corporate stuff.
We're just chatting about Nintendo. We're not doing anything.
Good stuff, though.
Maxwell song, everybody. You just get for the
Right.
camera, say hi to everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Max Song, what's up, buddy? What's going on?
Nintendo's lineup is great, by the way. That's what I want to say.
And one thing that's nice to say about Nintendo for people at home, people overseas, people in different states that have never, may never get out to E3. Nintendo puts their stuff out there. It's very clear, like what's playable, what's not. There's lines, of course. There's always going to be huge lines at Nintendo, but they do have lots of kiosks. Everything's lit very well. Like you mentioned before, you have those ladies walking around with the 3DSs. So like they do make their games very accessible,
Well, there's
and they
only,
do
like,
have a
9 of
lot
them.
of them in their booth.
There's only like 9 games that were playable. Well, I guess 11 if you count Just Dance and Skylanders.
The Treehouse is just there, so they're showing
Yeah.
off stuff. Some people mentioned that some of the games we were talking about that weren't necessarily accessible were demoed at the Treehouse.
Yeah.
It's weird that the Treehouse actually plays a bunch of games or even plays parts of games up on that stage that they don't put on the floor for the rest of us to try. And so I always hear about games that I played at E3 and people are asking me about aspects of them that I didn't even get to see. So I know nothing about it. There's games like Xenoblade Chronicles and Fatal Frame 5 and there's a lot of stuff coming
Fire
out.
Emblem,
Fire Emblem.
both the weird Shin Megami Tensei cross Fire Emblem game,
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Fates, Bravely Second was on there. Every now and then I'll be walking
Oh,
through
Bravely
the
Second was there?
Yeah.
Did you see?
I saw a little. I mean, it looked like Bravely Default. I wasn't.
As long as they
I
don't
wasn't
make you
listening
play
in.
the game again 5 times in a row.
From what I
I'd be
hear,
totally
Bravely
pumped.
Second
Thank you.
doesn't do that, which is awesome.
What
It
a
makes me
terrible way to.
Which you think Bravely Second would be the game you'd have to play twice.
Yeah,
But
I
we'll
mean,
see.
it's
We'll see if
twice
they
the
learn from
name's
that.
there.
Twice would be an
improvement.
understatement. Would
Yeah.
be an understatement.
Actually, a lot of people griped about that before I played Bravely Default, and so I knew that going in,
Oh,
and so it
you-
actually didn't bother me much. So
You're
I
lucky.
kind of knew how to approach
Yeah.
it.
It's
and
a really great
I kind of
game
picked and
otherwise.
choose.
Yeah.
That's a damn good game, and it's something to be said for just like, oh, I needed that. I needed an awesome, character-driven, not really hung up on previous Final Fantasies, so you don't have all these tropes that
Yeah.
you have to stick to.
Yeah.
That I can go at my own pace. Automating the battle and speeding it up like 8 times, like.
Yeah, like the Bravely Default system in that game
Yeah.
was awesome because it did make everything kind of run smoother.
Everybody had their favorite classes and their little
Yep.
setup and stuff like that.
You can you can break that battle system in a lot of ways.
And
it's really fun to figure out how to do that.
And it allows you to do it too. That's what I like about it. And it seems like with the sequel, they're doing more of that.
Yeah.
So if you're just tuning in now, if you guys are, I imagine that IGN and GameSpot have wrapped up their streams because they got to get out of here. They're going to kick them off the show floor.
gotta
But we
move
are still
everything
going strong. We have Nintendo World Report here. What's your schedule, guys? We're going to hang out for a little bit?
Oh,
or-
yeah, totally.
We're still waiting for everybody to come back from the show
If I
floor.
could get a water, that'd be amazing.
Copy
John, you
that.
get these guys a water?
Same.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
same
so
here.
much.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think one thing to keep in mind about Nintendo at E3 is that they never show everything that they have. I don't know why, but they pull back a lot of the stuff that they have coming out that might be more interesting to people like us who pay the most attention to it and are looking for all the little details. And we're interested in the niche games, stuff like Bravely Second and Xenoblade and Fire Emblem. And, well, Fire Emblem's not that niche anymore. It's getting a little more popular now. But, they always choose kind of a handful of things to focus on, and their whole presence at E3, from the video to the demos to what's up on the treehouse, everything that they do is all focused on these handful of games. And if those aren't the particular ones that you're the most excited about, it can make E3 feel really dull and barren and kind of antagonistic towards your interests. And because Nintendo is trying to cast a wide umbrella and they're trying to be, hey, we're for you and you and you. When you go to E3, it doesn't feel like that. It's really weird. They're like, we're very, they've got Mario, they've got Star Fox, and then if you're interested in those other games, then you came to the wrong show. It's like, this is the only show there is.
Well, so they had Smash Brothers. That was playable in their booth. They were showing off the new
thank
characters,
goodness. Yes.
Which I kind of did a double take. I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
They're those new characters. I need you guys to let me know if I'm a total heartless, cruel bastard or not.
Yes.
At the end of the Nintendo Direct, there was one Nintendo press conference. I believe it was the fireworks. Was that the last time we saw Nintendo on stage? Other than the World Championships, that was the last one from Nintendo Direct.
They went out with a bang.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my god.
Sorry.
So there was that moment. Not to mention, I'm huge on theme parks. So when they were like, imagine a Nintendo theme park, I was like, oh. And then they showed this thing. I'm like, that's not what I was
To be
picturing.
fair, Nintendo Land's a lot of fun, but
not necessarily something you should end your press conference with.
Exactly.
And you have someone like Sony, even Xbox, so like they know how to, if not end a press conference, start a press conference. And they chose to end this Nintendo Direct with a bunch of people on YouTube wearing silly Mario outfits, talking about how they like Super Mario Brothers. And I didn't want. Am I terrible?
I kept on
this
waiting
doesn't
for
warm my heart, to see all these fans and see all these people expressing their love for Mario.
I mean, maybe there's a little bit of terribleness there, but I kept on waiting at the end of that. I was like, they're going to do one more surprise.
Just to
one more.
end the press
Zelda
conference
trailer,
on
maybe?
that.
I don't know. Like, just something else. And then I was just kind of like, put up your own video. And
it's weird. I mean, that would have been a great way to start the video, and then you show Super
Sure.
Mario Maker, and it's like you get everybody nostalgic for Mario, and you get excited about the music and the costumes and all the crazy things you can do. And then you show this game where you combine all that stuff together in the craziest ways that you can possibly imagine. You break all the rules of how Mario levels are supposed to be designed, and you make the most evil or the craziest or whatever. I think that would be a great way to sequence it, but throwing that whole reel at the end of their big, video is
you end with the intro of just one boss from Legend of Zelda Wii U. Just one.
Yeah.
And then you're done. One tiny thing.
I'm flabbergasted that they didn't show a new trailer for Zelda. Like, I get if it's radically being changed or whatever, they still feel it's too early to let us play it.
Yeah.
But cut a trailer.
Well, here's the thing, and I've actually gotten an argument with people on social media about this because I'm like, when are we getting our Zelda trailer? And they're like, we've gotten Zelda trailers. And I'm like, no, we have not.
Yeah.
We have gotten 2 videos that Nintendo has released about Zelda, but those are not trailers. And if they are, I weep for the future of Zelda advertising because Zelda trailers are a thing of legend, not only in Nintendo, not only in the Zelda franchise, but just in trailers, period.
Just at
like
E3,
I mean, that's the name of your damn site.
The release of the first time we got to look at Twilight Princess, that is one of the greatest E3 memories ever.
Absolutely. I was like in the front row of that.
And then now again, conference room in the corner, huge sunlight coming in through the windows, wearing like a sweater and pants, just kind of like, hey, let's do this here. This is like the second take they did, it's just one continuous thing. Like, opponent doesn't run into trees. See you later. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's exciting to finally see this game. And I admit that like the kind of comfortableness of it is kind of nice. Feels like we're there at the same time. But then again, if it was a supplemental thing you showed after this amazing Conan the Barbarian music-driven, like they don't have to do that because they haven't done that in a while. But I just need that main story hook, that big thing that ends with these crazy boss fights that we're seeing.
We've seen so little of that game. We've seen basically like a snippet of a tease.
Maybe less than 60 seconds total of footage, and even that footage is kind of off screen to an angle. I don't know. It's why are you so cagey about the biggest game, the one that everybody wants? You're trying to sell a system. I mean, if this game really is coming out on Wii U, this would be a good year to show it as, hey, buy your system now, you can play this game in the future. And they're not telling that story right now.
Right.
It's like, buy the system now, and you can play Yoshi on it. Well, I love Yoshi. I'm really excited for that game, but I don't know that that's going to sell a bunch of systems.
So wheeling the conversation back a little bit, I'm curious. I had a theory while we were watching this nonsense. We were watching the fans see this little girl. I don't care about you. Get out of here with your musical talent. But this little montage of these people updating stuff, clearly people, putting videos up on YouTube or Vimeo or social media and stuff. Do you think this was a reaction to Angry Joe and the like getting pissed about
Probably.
Nintendo coming down on content creators on the web? And so this is the kind of Nintendo making a move where they're like, we love you guys. See, look at all these people that we love.
They've been doing a lot more on YouTube just in, I guess, maybe the past year or two. They've been getting a lot more social media, YouTube, and everything. And it seems to be a direction that they're pushing in, but they want to have everybody kind of do it on their own terms with the whole creators program and how they are pretty restrictive about putting up videos. And
Nintendo are control freaks.
Yeah.
About everything. Absolutely. Yeah. So Neil's exactly right. I mean, they're catching up. They're slowly learning, but very, very slowly.
5 years behind, man.
Yeah.
They're 5 years behind.
No, I mean, and sometimes that's not the worst thing. Like I think a lot of their games are still fantastic. There's a reason why I run a site called Nintendo World Report. I love their video games, but they are. I look at Sony and Microsoft.
We can talk about Xbox if you want to. I mean, we don't have to. I don't want to pigeonhole you guys. I don't want you to typecast.
I can sum up with the Xbox thing is that I have a Rock Band. I have Rock Band 3 on my 360. I don't have an Xbox One yet. That with the Rare Replay collection,
Exactly.
I'm getting one by August.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we watched Microsoft's press conference. We always do. We watch Sony's. I own a PlayStation 4. I'm gonna buy an Xbox One. I mean, we play everything. And yeah, I saw that press conference and the Rare Replay thing, which Nintendo really, I mean, Microsoft should have done that 10 years ago, talking about being behind the times. That did not need to happen in 2015.
Right.
But we played it. It looks great. The games are emulated really well from what we can tell. There's some amazing stuff on there. They're bringing back Blast Core, which I've been asking for that since
I totally
the
spotted
90s.
Blast Core on the side when they brought up
Yes.
like a bunch of different pictures. Like
I was looking for it. Yeah. I mean, I'm
Blast
thrilled
Core and
that-
Body Harvest, man. The 64. God, what
64, man. Body Harvest is a pretty good pull, actually.
Yeah.
That was made by the GTA 3 guys.
Oh yeah, DMA design.
It is a weird game and really cool.
Like DMA design is not a title you think of when you think about Rockstar, but
Right.
they were same people.
And that in Space Station Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
which is also a really interesting, crazy N64 game that it's hard to find now, but worth looking for.
So we have our direct. We talked about Star Fox a little bit. We talked about Amiibo at great length. Triforce Heroes. You guys were a fan of. You dug that.
Oh yeah, I like it.
I don't know when I'm going to play Triforce Heroes because the single
Right.
player, like, you're using dolls, and I think you have to switch between them, and that doesn't really sound that great. And I need to have that perfect situation with two other people that kind of know what they're doing, and unless I can wrangle two friends to play local multiplayer with me at home, or go online and then go on Skype and talk to friends, like, it just, like, I love Link Between Worlds, but with Triforce Heroes, I'm not as excited for it because when am I going to play that?
It's like a PAX game.
Yeah.
It's a perfect
Yep.
convention game.
Yeah.
You just kind of get it. Like you meet your friends there, and they're like, "Well, we have it," and you're like the third one. You're like, "No, fine, I'll get it." And they like sucker you and strong arm you
But
into buying,
download, please. You don't
downloading
need
it
to
right
get
away.
it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what is that usually like? Just limited functionality, just like you can only play one part of a level, or
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We don't know yet.
Okay.
But it could be the whole thing. I don't know.
And I know, like, back with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, that had, for that multiplayer, it was download play, and if you didn't have the game and you did download play with someone, then you still, as long as you didn't shut your 3DS, you could go and play that with other people. You can then share that multiplayer with someone else.
Nice.
Don, you don't own a Wii U, do you?
I don't. I was saying I've been wanting to get one, and I had a dream. I was telling Kyle earlier, I had a dream before E3 that they announced a Caribbean Blue Wii U with a new Wave Race game.
What does Caribbean Blue look like?
That
just
sounds
like an
really
aqua
good.
blue, like a light, beautiful
Paint me a
blue-colored
picture.
Wii U, and it was with a new, like, really great
Down cam,
AAA-looking Wave Race. It didn't happen, but I don't have one yet. And
Again, with Nintendo 64 Wave Race.
Yeah.
I'm
Wave Race,
assuming,
that's awesome.
yeah, that they might package Star Fox in the fall with one. I'm thinking. I don't know. What do you think? Is that possible? Bundle with
But
Star Fox?
They always do bundles. So
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I could definitely see a Super Mario Maker bundle. I mean, that's really Nintendo's big holiday title this year. Even though it's coming out in September,
Yeah.
they're going to continue to market that game way past
Have you
Christmas.
talked about any like downloadable for can you share levels
Yes.
with your
Yes,
friends?
you can.
All of the above. I tell you, for for all the criticisms we might have about the way Nintendo does things and how it seems like
Because
their
they
games
didn't
often-
explain that. They didn't explain.
Yeah,
that.
No, you have to
watch all the Treehouse Live stuff. That's the only way to be able to find out. If
No, it's in the demo. Actually, you can kind of go through the menus and look through all the user interface and the tools for downloading and sharing levels. You can rate, you can leave comments, you can like favorite your favorite creators, and then go and play all their levels. Every time you beat a level, it brings up a ticker where it recommends other levels that you might like based on whatever characteristics from there. You can filter by region, how old, like how recently the level was created, how difficult it is, how many stars people have given it.
Okay.
It keeps track of what percentage of people have completed the level, how many people have died on it. It is really robust. It's like everything you could possibly want Super Mario Maker to be. It seems like they've got it in there. I was so surprised by just how complete of a package it seems like. I mean, if you imagine what a modern game would be where you like edit your own Mario levels and then share them with your friends around the world, it is exactly that. It has everything you would want it to do.
Are we going to see? I didn't even think about this until this moment. Are we going to see copycats? Are we going to get like Mega Man Maker or like Castlevania
They
Maker?
should.
Or
That'd be awesome.
I mean, if Konami was still making video games, then maybe we could get Castlevania Maker.
Is that a smart thing for Nintendo to lead the charge on that? To realize like a Mega Man Maker. If that came from Nintendo, I could see Capcom being like, yeah, sure. If you want to,
I got a
take
question
those
from
assets
chat.
and do it.
It says, do you think Nintendo would have done better if they premiered Super Mario Maker at the digital event versus
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been way more shocking. And yeah, because I mean, Mario Maker was playable last year. I played it a whole year ago, and it's basically the same thing now. It's just they've added tons more features to it. It's way more robust now.
Yep.
And it's a known quantity. If you're the kind of person who's going to watch a Nintendo digital event live right when it first goes up, well, live, whatever that means, but right when it first debuts, if you're awaiting that and seeking it out in advance, then you're looking for what's new. What do I not already know about? And there was not that much of that. Star Fox, great. I'm actually really excited about Star Fox. Other than that, really very little else in that digital event that we didn't already know about. And so people are kind of left thinking, I don't know, it seems like you guys don't have that much loaded to go this year.
Chad is saying there was a Mega Man Maker and Capcom canceled it.
Oh yeah, Mega Man
that's
Universe.
true.
I played that. It was I think it was playable at New York Comic Con years ago, and that was right. Inafune was there, and I think Inafune was like left Capcom a couple months later. It was
Yeah.
very weird.
Did
but-
he use the Mega Man Maker to make Mighty Number 9? That's the question.
No, but there is also the PSP game Mega Man Powered Up has a level editor in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Can you make your own worlds? That
Yes.
was an
Yes.
important question.
Yes,
for
you can make
Kyle.
a set of 4 levels. In fact, from what I can tell, you might even be able to create an entire game worth of levels, like 8 worlds plus bonus worlds. I mean,
Oh wow.
it's pretty robust, man. It's pretty cool.
I mean, that's also a lot of time too.
yes, it would take a ton of time.
I
and
look
a lot
forward
of
to
effort.
playing what people create. 'Cause
Oh yeah,
it's not something I'm going to be doing.
I'm totally a consumer with these kind of,
Yep.
Little Big Planet and all that stuff. I'm just like, just show me what you made, because I don't have time to make a really good level.
Which makes me wonder, we were talking earlier about Smash Brothers and Amiibo support. It's like, oh, we're going to be talking about Smash Brothers for a long time. We're just going to keep coming out with these figures that we're like, okay, time to boot up Smash Brothers and get back
It's
to
not
it.
even the amiibos. They're adding new characters. They're adding new
Right.
levels. They're adding a tournament mode in August, right?
So
Yeah.
I mean,
does that speak well for the future of Super Mario Maker that they could keep, putting more stuff into it?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Nintendo way on the DLC train. So if you can think of a cool way for them to do DLC, and actually,
And the Mario Kart 8 DLC was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think
It's a
the
great
Smash
deal.
Brothers
All of
stuff
it.
is great.
Well-priced.
The Splatoon great. The
Yeah.
Splatoon stuff is
Yeah.
great as well.
They're actually, I think, one of the best companies about DLC. For what you get for what you pay, and it's always really high quality. They don't release it they don't have it ready to go on day one. It's always stuff they made later.
Yeah.
It's the way you would want DLC to be done. They actually are pretty good with their consumers, with their fans about that.
I think it's something to be said. It's always fun to just grade everybody to be like, you get a B, you get a D minus. But we've been talking about Nintendo for a long time, so I mean there is a lot of stuff to talk about.
Sure.
So it does seem like a lot of people are saying there's not enough games on these consoles potentially, but there's certainly lots of things to talk about.
Yep, got another chat question from One Last Word, once again getting back on here. Seems like Nintendo spends so much time editing and producing a direct that tells you less than 45 minutes of Treehouse Live that comes on right after. Should they go back to live events? E3 shows and such and such.
I think they should. I think the video makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I think there's a lot of value to showing it to an audience of people in a room, especially at the tournament, would be great. But really, they just need to make those videos a little more dense. There's a whole lot of people just chatting, a lot of showing off amiibos and stuff like that. Show us new games. Let's if you're gonna have people talking about games, talk about new games, not the games that we already know about.
I mean, like I think last year's was their show last year was very strong, and
Yeah,
they
Kyle
did,
said that.
It was.
They did the same kind of setup as they did this year, but they actually had kind of the games to back it up.
Didn't Mega Man get announced last year in Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
That was
Yes,
killer. I mean, think about like Ryu, who unfortunately got spoiled, teased,
Oh,
ahead
yeah,
of time.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember that, because he went through all of his moves in the trailer, and you're just like, like Leaf Man or like Leaf powers. Oh my God, that was a very, very robust announcement. But yeah, again, we're being super picky. Like it was, on one hand, we can talk about. It was funny, like the Paper Jam, the Mario RPG, Paper Mario crossover. Everybody was being all picky. Kyle was like, I don't like the way those two things look together. It looks like an asset rehash. I don't know particularly was the terminology that Bloodworth used, but it's like they have these graphics, they have these stills, they have these sprites.
They made one of those games like 2 years ago, and
right.
all they did was add the paper characters, and it looks like it's the same thing.
But at the same time, Elise Willems, who's just walked in the control room there, who's shoving pizza in her face.
Cam.
We were talking about Nintendo predictions beforehand, and one of us brought up Super Mario RPG. We're like, wouldn't that be great if we got another one of those? That would be so cool. And then we got one, and we're like, what is that? It's like,
Yeah.
So you can easily be pessimistic about Nintendo.
And the Mario and Luigi games are great. I'm really looking forward to the Paper
The
Jam.
Dream Team was a little on the talky side.
Sure.
Do you ever get that from your fans, your community? Do you ever people reach out to you and they're just like, you're being too mean? Do you ever get really critical
all
of
the time.
Nintendo? Yeah,
all
okay.
the time.
So on my podcast, people, I think, usually wish we would be even more mean. I heard that there's a petition to have Nintendo cancel the new Metroid Federation Forces on 3DS.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
the
it's-
silliest thing I've ever heard.
Well, especially because you have
Right.
no idea what went into making that. You have no idea like when that got greenlit, how long they've been working on it,
Yeah.
what they still have to show that they haven't showed yet, and what condition that game is in, and what financially that would mean for
And I
Nintendo
just
if they
think
were to
that's-
back out beyond
that's
you
so-
just being hurt.
It's so disrespectful to the people making
Yeah.
that game who,
Yep.
by the way, a lot of them might not have really even wanted it to be a Metroid
Right.
game. And there's a long history of Nintendo forcing franchises upon games that are already in
Actually,
development.
talking to one of the
And-
guys at Rare Replay who worked on Dinosaur Planet.
Oh,
So there's a perfect
boy.
example of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting because I've actually had a petition going for a couple years now to try to get the Nintendo World Report canceled, and nobody's really been signing it. I haven't really
All
gotten a
right,
lot of
we're
feedback
out.
on
Let's
it.
go,
So
Johnny.
just waiting to see more details on that. You can go to cancel Nintendo. No, I'm kidding. Any more questions? I still got more stuff to talk about.
Yes. More questions. What was your favorite non-Nintendo announcement at
What
E3?
Tom? Well, that's not an announcement. That's my favorite non-Nintendo game of E3 was what
It
Tom.
wasn't at E3 though, was it?
It was in the IndieCade booth.
It was in the IndieCade booth. And I just had the thought, which I had to kill immediately, which is like, cool, I should check that out tomorrow.
No. E3's over.
It's
You can't.
over. But I did check it out at Judges Week.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that didn't show up on stage. What a crazy game.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, no, I love Katamari, I love Nobi Nobi Boy, and what Tom just looks like beautiful, beautiful nonsense.
And the kind of game, it was funny because like we criticize game trailers, what we're planning on doing later tonight, like going through media and being like, try again. And when Tom's first trailer came out, I was like, what is that? He's like putting on the top hats. And I'm like, I mean, this is cute. Nobody's not saying that, but it's like, I'm not getting any game from this.
Yeah.
I don't know what, it's like, surely whatever premise they have for their game, they could have sold better than this. And then I saw the game for 45 minutes and I took it all back. I was like, I don't even know how you begin to sell this game because it's a
And
game you
you
have to
think-
watch for at least a half an hour to get it.
And you think back to that trailer and you're like, oh, that's probably the best way you do it.
Right.
I'm really excited for Recore, the game that's being made by Keiji Inafune and Armature Studios from Microsoft. I mean, gosh, the cojones to say from the creators of Metroid Prime, and they do this the day before, and everybody's kind of hoping Nintendo's going to show something from Retro Studios, and then they don't.
Right.
Wow. That game looks really cool, though. I like the style of it. I don't know very much about it so far, but I thought basically a teaser trailer, CG stuff. But I thought it was
you don't know
really
if
cool.
they got the even though it was a CG trailer, you kind of got the mechanic, and you could see how that would work.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job selling that.
the glowy orb thing, and the
Yeah.
dog, and then the enemies, and yeah.
So the mind goes, you're like, oh, it'd be cool if you could get in a vehicle and
Absolutely.
power it with one of those orbs. Or she gets the red orb, and we don't really see what that does. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you guess like Big Hero 6, there's like good programming and bad programming, and you can like turn these things to be, maybe like do more damage because he helps her in that situation. So like maybe Blue's support, maybe those are like, like types of things that'll, defend you or buff you or help you find things in the environment or travel or something. And then like red is all combat, it's all like, you take those into boss battles.
Got
and stuff.
another
Well, I'm
question.
getting excited for Recore too. Nice.
I know.
That's cool.
Got another question. Okay, this is obviously about the NX console, which they didn't talk about, and I know you guys are Super Nintendo fans. So I don't know if you guys saw, like probably about like a year ago, the plans sort of got leaked for the NX, or their concept plans for their system. They were saying possibly 3D, taking your 2DS games and being able to put it into the console. That was what I read. I can't find the article, so don't quote me on this, chat. Don't kill me. But you could put your DS games into the console. Now they're saying that you're going to be able to there's going to be some Android OS kind of maybe system on it. What would you say? What would you say?
I think it's going to be something that's kind of merge the home console stuff and the portable stuff into one. Like,
you could believe the DS, putting the DS in the...
Yeah,
okay.
and also the Android OS. I think it's going to play nice with their mobile stuff that they're going to do and their new Club Nintendo successor. But I think that they can't support both Wii U and 3DS. I mean, last year, they announced a lot of great Wii U stuff at E3 and didn't really talk about 3DS that much. And this year, they kind of reversed it. Without third-party support, they're doing it all by themselves with a few indie developers. And they can't support a Wii U and 3DS, and even more so if they throw in mobile and quality of life or whatever the heck else they do.
Right. So to me, it makes sense that NX is really multiple hardware. So it's like iOS. It's a platform.
Yeah.
And so there's the iPhone, there's the iPad, there's the Apple TV, and they basically all run on the same core OS,
infrastructure, right.
but and a lot of the same apps work on all of them. So it really comes down to how do you want to play it? Do you want it on a small screen? Do you want it on a big screen? Do you want it on your TV? Do you want to stream it? Whatever. Do you want it to connect to your phone? And maybe it's just a way for them to basically develop a game once and have it run on multiple systems, and you can buy it once and play it on multiple systems. You still are buying the hardware, and Nintendo wants to sell you hardware, and they want to sell you multiple systems potentially. So I think NX will probably end up being multiple things, but primarily it will definitely be portable. It is absolutely. Everybody's worried about like how are they going to replace Wii U. Nintendo's worried about how are we going to replace 3DS. That's where they make their money.
Yeah.
That is the big business, and 3DS sales are dropping like a rock. Even with
no.
Not something I pay attention to that closely. So interesting.
As someone who does kind of pay attention to
A little bit?
a little closely. 2013 was a good year for 3DS. 2014 was horrible. 2015 coming back a little bit, mainly because of the new 3DS, but we'll kind of see if that'll actually carry to the fall.
New 3DS? What's that?
New 3DS XL.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh.
are there games for that? Are they? What does it do that the old one doesn't do? Why would I buy that?
And
Is
Xenoblade
this like a segment
Chronicles-
from your show? Is this like a thing
Xenoblade
you guys
Chronicles
do?
3D.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was absolutely shocked that Nintendo didn't announce something for the new 3D. You know that system that they released
Yeah.
4 months
Oh
ago
my.
that they want
4
people to buy?
months. Oh my
That
God, you're
brand
right.
new hardware that Nintendo has that they.
Yeah.
Where's the new 3DS?
Well, I mean,
not
they-
even a mention
it's
of it.
clear, Johnny, because they released that because 3DS sales were terrible, and they're like, okay, our dedicated fans will all go out and stupidly buy this thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll just be like, oh,
There-
okay, there's not much to get with it. When they release another one, I'm going to
There-
get it.
I
When
mean,
they release a smaller one out here, I'm going to get
There's
it.
exactly one game that's exclusive to new
Xeno-
3DS.
Xenoblade,
They
right?
haven't
Yep.
even announced anything else.
Wow.
There's
Yeah.
nothing
There's
else.
a few 3DS indie games, like Binding of Isaac is going to be new 3DS only.
because it's Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to sell that thing on
No.
indie games.
No.
No way.
They sold a Pokemon game one time with box art in a trailer. It was a trailer box art. It was literally Pikachu walked out and was like, "Hey, here's a new game," and the box art came in and they were done. It was really funny because I remember it actually because I remember that day. I was like, I've been searching it for my entire life. This is the worst game trailer I've ever seen.
What score would you give?
0. That is 0.
All right.
That is a
Just
non.
want to know the baseline.
That is a non-trailer.
Yeah, it's-
Actually, 0 would probably be a non-trailer. It's probably like a 0.1, maybe a 1.
Speaking
it's
of
like the-
Pokemon, I was amazed
Yeah,
that they didn't
Kyle
announce
Bossman
a
was
new Pokemon game.
was hurt.
Don't you know, holiday 2015, you'll be getting Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon.
Oh yeah.
So you go. You're wrong.
Yeah,
You're
I
wrong,
guess.
John.
But yeah, I mean, Neil's right. They release a new Pokemon game every year, whether it's a remake or
Yep.
or a new one, and there's gonna be one this year. E3 seems like a good place to announce that,
Right.
but maybe Pokemon's so big they don't need E3 to announce it.
But it's interesting. You have somebody, you have like Microsoft, which came out beforehand, and they're like, just FYI, no Crackdown, no Scalebound,
Yeah.
no Quantum Break.
Yeah.
These are 3 titles you're going to see
But
at
that's because they
Gamescom or
don't
at other
have
events.
room for it because they've got so many other
Whereas
announcements.
Correct.
Nintendo's like, no Zelda. We probably could have fit it in there, but we just don't have anything to show.
But
Well,
they-
actually,
yeah.
no. The balls on Miyamoto being like, we had some really awesome Zelda footage, but we didn't show it.
Did he say that?
Yes, that is a thing that happened.
You don't say
Oh,
that.
man.
You don't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
That's like a friend. That's like a friend that like doesn't hook up with someone, and then like later they're like, "Well, I could have.
I
but,
probably would have done it,
but I
but
just
you know,
didn't."
I was
and you're
tired.
like, "Stop it."
I didn't want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah, exactly. I just I had to get sleep that night. I was just hanging out with the boys. I couldn't leave them.
One more question.
all right.
All right. This is a two-parter. I know that first part was a little bit long, but the second part is, since they're going to announce it next year, the NX or whatever, how much longer does the Wii U have?
Like
2
a year.
years? Oh. Me and my girlfriend are really trying to buy one. I'm like looking up the prices.
There's
and I'm
still a lot of
scared.
really good
I'm
games
scared.
there.
I'm scared because I'm like, next year they're going to announce a new console. I mean,
I think, maybe it'll get delayed, but I have a feeling that like the plans for NX are probably 2017 at this
Yeah.
point. Well, we're definitely going to hear about it in 2016. They've said that multiple times.
It could come out next year.
Yeah, and there's that chance. And I think that Zelda might end up being Twilight Princess, and that we'll see it on Wii U and NX. I mean, they've been pretty adamant that it's not going to leave Wii U, but that doesn't mean it's not also coming to NX. But I think that it might work out like the Wii, where in 2011 we got Skyward Sword, and that was basically it. There wasn't much else coming out on Wii, and then 2012 was just a year of sadness on that console until Wii U came out.
Yeah, I mean, my advice on Wii U is just this. If you look at the games that are already out and the ones that we know are coming, the ones that were shown here, Xenoblade and Super Mario Maker and Star Fox, if those don't convince you that it's worth buying a Wii U, then you don't really want a Wii U. Because, obviously Zelda's out beyond that, but this time next year, there's probably going to be 6 months with basically nothing coming out on Wii U until Zelda, which is the same thing that happened on Wii.
It's also the same thing that happens every year.
John.
They legitimately,
Be
from
honest with
Splatoon
yourself.
to Mario Maker, there are no games coming to Wii U from Nintendo outside of some eShop stuff.
Right. 3 months with no new Wii U games.
And that's not the first time that's happened. It's that for some reason Nintendo of America just like hates July. They just hate the summer.
They have a big they have a calendar there in July. It's just crossed. It's like a 13th floor in building. They just don't.
Well, they have Splatoon. I mean, Splatoon is basically still being released over the next couple of months.
It was a pleasant surprise.
That
Definitely that turned out better than they were going to say. Okay, so I have one more game, guys. So we talked a lot of Nintendo games that they covered. We've had a little chat about all of them, but we've neglected the game, the big game, the big thing that everybody was talking about, the shock, the earthquake, the tremor, Mario Tennis.
I was like, oh man,
Dun.
what was it? Did
I know,
miss
I
it?
was
like, oh.
Massive, meaning massive tennis players.
Yes.
You can
That's
you can be
it.
small and then you're big
That's
and then
all
you're
I'll
small
say.
again.
Can I tell you a quick story? My first E3, 2000. Okay, this is my 15th E3 this year.
Bummer, mine was 2002. Everybody's beating me by like 1 or 2 E3s.
Don't worry, you beat me. For me, it was 09.
Yeah. My very first E3, 2000. I was playing N64 games and Dreamcast games that year, and I saw a PS2 for the first time actually at a party. Someone had imported one from Japan, and there was a game called Mario Tennis on N64. They showed a new character called Waluigi, who I immediately thought was hilarious, and I still love Waluigi a lot. I'm definitely on the Dan Reichert camp with that one. And my friend Ben and I, who I met at the show that year, we just went back to Mario Tennis over and over and over, and we played it so many times. We had such a blast, and I bought that game the day it came out. I was living in the dorms in college at the time. We played a ton of it. That was 15, 16 years ago.
It's the same
new
damn demo.
It's the same game as that,
Right.
They just keep making it over and over, and there's really nothing new in it. I don't understand. It's just tennis. Tennis is not that complicated of a game. I don't know how you can make 18 different tennis games. It's just tennis. Do a new sport, or just don't do it. Just do something different.
Between baseball and soccer and all the sports that Nintendo's attempted over the years, do you have a favorite?
No.
I like golf.
Yeah.
I like the Striker series.
Oh, okay.
The soccer one.
I guess I would say tennis. I actually think that N64 tennis game is my favorite of all of them. Yeah, but I'm not a big sports guy anyway. So yeah, I don't know why you're still making the same thing over and over again. What's the point?
And they've made so many sports games, and that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
we used to do, we haven't produced like a huge one in a long time. But we used to do just giant, massive retrospective series. We would do like multiple episodes, like Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Star Wars, and stuff.
I love those.
And thank you very much, sir. But when we produced those, a lot of people reach out and they're just like, "Oh, you should do Mega Man," and they're like, "Well, okay," or they're like, and everybody's always like, "You should do Mario." It's like that would have to be a 20-part,
You would have to
800-hour
shut down
thing.
game trailers and just be like, well, this is what we're doing for the next year.
But not only that, like one of those episodes inevitably, because like I've thought about it, I broke it up, just kind of like, okay, what would each episode be and what would you focus on? You'd have to do a sports episode, and just that episode would be 30 minutes, because you imagine doing every single sport they've ever done.
Soccer,
down to the Game Boy and
basketball,
NES. Like I remember playing, baseball.
Virtual Boy even.
Yeah, definite Virtual Boy action. Oh my goodness, we got a full house, everybody. We got Ian in the control room. Let's go on the control room cam.
Dom cam.
We got Ian's shirt in there. They just see your shirt. Get in there. Yeah, there he is. There's proof. If we go to the couch is full. We got Kyle Bossman, Elise Willems.
We all made it back safe and sound.
We've got Omar. Omar, how was your show today?
Tiring.
I'm
tiring.
I'm mostly concerned about Brad Ellis. I hope Brad had a good time at the show today.
Brad didn't make it back.
Why are you more?
Brad was just an E3 casualty. Sorry.
He's lost.
I was always worried he was a little weak. Yeah,
He belongs to the show now.
Yeah, consumed.
He's
Yeah.
been absorbed.
You look super tired too.
I'm tired, man.
Oh,
I'm
man.
tired,
yeah.
but I'm enthusiastic.
That's me too. I think
If you're not tired, you didn't do it right.
Right. Exactly.
Were you asking why am I nervous about Brad?
Yeah.
Because Brad worked really hard this week, and
Yeah.
Brad actually brought it to my attention that he was like, when can I, go to the show? And I was like, oh, right. Yeah, maybe Thursday. Hopefully Thursday we're going to have some time. So I just hope he had a fun time. I hope he got enough in, to warrant, having a pass and going down there and seeing stuff that he wanted to see.
I would say Brad's work pales in comparison to John Michael's work, who also didn't get to go to E3.
Oh, that's cool. Just
go.
that's cool. Just turn off the mic when they say that. That's cool.
John didn't get to go at all. Yeah. Everyone's work.
Hey Kyle, my belt was supposed to go to E3. What happened? You forgot it.
Here's a Don fact.
Your belt?
Don fact. In other parts of the world, they hold a Don 3.
That's true.
I've seen some good ones. I commented in chat earlier, and everybody was like, hi, Brand Don. I'm like, nice.
You have to understand, we've been doing Don puns all day.
I threw some Don puns in there.
Oh my god.
Dawn of the Planet of the Dons, I think is my favorite. Any Don puns? Is that what we're talking about? Anything? Top of your head, Don pun?
Have you guys heard of the game called Sneakin' Love?
Yeah, Waluigi Sneak and
Sneak and
Love.
Love,
You ever heard
yeah.
about that?
Wait, what?
So this is a
Is it
game.
a
So we were
sequel
thinking
to
about
Sneak
beforehand. What was the context? How did you think this up?
Romantic stealth game.
What
All right,
were
I'm on
you
board.
What were you doing though when it came up?
Kyle can see
Was it a mandatory update?
They asked me
Sneak
what
and
my
Love.
dream game is, and I said, okay, it's a romantic stealth game starring Waluigi.
That
And
sounds
somebody-
incredible.
Yeah.
And somebody, I don't know if we can bring it up, but somebody did box art for it.
Explain it. He
And it's like a
doesn't explain it, he
and it's
just
like a
says
giant
that.
apartment complex, and there's like a shadow of two people kissing in it, and Waluigi's face is behind it, like. Wah.
It's not that preposterous. There are 2 Tingle games in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tingle, way creepier
There's
than.
two?
Way creepier, yeah.
So what's the one that's not freshly picked then? What's the other Tingle game?
There was a
Oh,
ballon
gosh.
fight one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Balloon something.
And wasn't there 2 freshly picked ones? I
Oh,
feel like there
man.
might have been.
So, Kyle Bossman, you're back.
Yeah.
Is Blood here?
No,
Blood back.
Blood left late.
Blood left? Oh, left the show late.
Yeah.
Okay. But when Blood gets here, we're going to be doing some GT time, right? Woo, you got the graphics ready and everything? We're all set up?
Nope, we're putting them in post.
All right.
No, we can put them now. I got them ready.
We'll talk about that. We can't load things on the track.
Sorry, Ian and I will whisper to each other off
we
camera.
can put it on this computer, I guess. That
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
dumb.
Hash it out on the stream.
hash it out. No,
Hash it out on the
hash it
stream.
out. Right now.
Oh my gosh, you shouldn't do this stuff live.
If you're really gonna be a baby about it, we can put it on this computer and do
That's
that.
not being a baby about it. That's doing like the show that I want.
Well, you guys are sure we'll talk more about Sneak and Love.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, more. Yeah,
I like this idea.
Yeah,
This Waluigi
we already
game.
did.
We were kind of
just
talking
figured it
about
out.
when we heard about Mario Tennis. We were kind of thinking about like, how about it's just an adventure game where Waluigi has a racket and it's just going around? Because that'd be better than the tennis game.
Solving people's woes,
Yeah.
just racket style.
If they just called this new one Waluigi's Tennis, that alone would make it way more appealing to me.
If they just put a third person on the tennis court, do whatever it is
Yeah.
you do. Don't put out the
Triples.
same game. Literally, they don't talk
But
to anybody.
No, you don't understand. The characters get bigger.
Huge.
I
You can
know.
barely even see them on the screen anymore.
you have a
They're so huge.
backhand now.
Probably the one good thing I can say about that is that when you play doubles in that, like Peach's animations are like weird and like very dainty, and especially when she gets giant, because then I would just spam like the waving high, and then someone would serve it to me and hit me in the face.
Or if you're gonna do another Mario Tennis, at least open it up to all the other characters. Bring in Chibi Robo, make it the Smash Brothers of
Yeah.
tennis.
They should do
Right.
that with
That
all
might
the
actually
sports
be,
games.
yeah, absolutely. I that's one thing I really like about Mario Kart is how they've kind of opened it up to other franchises,
Yeah.
bringing that in. A little taste of F-Zero, a little taste of Animal Crossing. You get Link in there, and he has his own course. That stuff is awesome. Everybody loves that. Do that with all your sports games, all your racing games, all your fighting games. Smash everything.
Elise, you want to talk about Twilight Princess HD a little bit?
What?
That'd be cool.
Did you want some Twilight
I
Princess
had
HD?
a big dream to see 3. I had a feeling that Nintendo did kind of abandon the Wii U. They clearly are focusing on what's coming next for them.
Oh, yeah.
But I
That's
thought
correct.
maybe the Wii U's last swan song will be some like HD remasters. Like, you know, we got Wind Waker. We're getting you know, we got Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the 3DS, and I thought maybe we would get either a Super Mario Sunshine HD or Twilight Princess HD, which were my dreams. And everyone told me it wouldn't happen, and they were right.
I wish for that, but
I
so
think
I'm
both
there
of
with you.
those could still happen, actually. We actually just did a special on our podcast. We did a live show about a month ago where we talked about Twilight Princess for well over 2 hours. I mean, we all
very
played
long.
it 40, 50 hours a piece, you know, and it was great to go back through that game because the first time I did it, I was reviewing the Wii. I got the game, some of you might remember this, I got the game a week before it came out, and I had a week to play through Twilight Princess and all the other stuff on Wii. It was brutal, and so my memory of the game was like kind of a blur, you know. It's just
I
like
was a
smack-
dog.
And also,
What did you play and what did you dream?
Right.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
So it was kind of a revelation to go back through it again, and it really is a great game, and it's
Yeah.
some of the best Zelda dungeons ever. So it's such a cool style to it. A lot to like about it, and I think there's some few obvious things that you would want to fix if you went back and had another chance to kind of do another swipe on it. But you know, with everything they've done with Wind Waker and Majora's Mask, it's the perfect candidate for it. Sunshine, same way. I think Sunshine would actually be great on the 3DS.
That's
New 3DS.
That's-
But
oh, that's the only way you're gonna be able to control the little squirter.
Yeah.
It's the only way. If you have both little.
that would
stupid
involve
animals.
It'd be-
Nintendo acknowledging that they
it'd be
released the
perfect.
system a couple months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Elise Williams, how was Man Ups?
It's always kind of a we'll find the show in post sort of thing.
Are there any celebrities we can look forward to? Anybody you
oh,
bumped into?
Jeff Keighley
Yeah.
Dropping spoilers.
or Keezus, as we called him, since he was
Ooh.
hobnobbing with Kanye West at the show. Nicole Z from Ladies in the Lobby.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I met her yesterday. We're playing King's Quest.
Oh, she's fantastic. And King's Quest, we didn't get to play anything.
Oh, that was at the IndieCade
show.
too, wasn't it?
No, it was at Microsoft's booth.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, it was kind of it didn't have a great situation because it was just sort of tucked behind right by Mad Max.
Yeah.
Who else did we talk to? Ashley Birch.
Oh,
And
nice.
we did a little bit of E3 trivia. I won't give it away much more, but we,
Yeah.
Jeff and Ash, and we asked them a few questions about E3's past, and what we saw this year, to see how well they were paying attention to the press conferences.
Where's Kyle? Is he prepping for GT time? Yeah, he is. So in case you guys are wondering, Nintendo World Report was here for a healthy amount of time. I think you guys were talking about all the
That's
stuff
great.
Nintendo. You're free to hang out as long as you'd like. I'm gonna have to fill up these chairs when we get GT time going. But who knows with Kyle? We can be, we'll have to cover for another hour before he gets his shit together. But just what we're going to do, we're going to start with a GT time, which is our weekly podcast. Kyle's going to sit here. I get to stay in the same chair. Blood's going to sit here. And then Elise, you are in the fourth chair, correct? And then we're going to talk about, surprise, surprise, E3. Just do a wrap-up of all the stuff that happened in the week. And then after that, we're going to do a bunch of trailer scores. We went through those earlier today, a bunch of trailers we're going to talk about, try to figure out what were the best trailers of the show and score those. And then if we have time for Just Blades after that, we'll get to a couple of those until we pass out. Until you literally just you leave the GT stream. You're like, I'm just going to make some dinner. And you come back and we're all just you're like, oh no, what happened? Like chat's screaming. They're like, wake up. Somebody send an ambulance.
Have you guys already recounted what you've been doing for your E3 experience? I'm sure you did that earlier.
Playing
in the
Nintendo
show.
games.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Were you
And what
basically
Tom?
only at the Nintendo booth, or did you explore
We
elsewhere?
explore.
I roam. Yeah. I always make a point to play as many indie games as I can. That's why I've been going to Sony's booth for years. I always try to block out 2 or 3 hours to just go play it. Because number one, a lot of them are coming to Nintendo systems
Yep.
eventually.
Oh,
So
yeah, good call.
my audience is very interested in a lot of this stuff, and it pays to kind of do my research on it. Also, they're just so much fun, and I always wish why doesn't Nintendo have this whole indie section? They've got so many great indie games coming to their systems, and now they're getting better. Like, you can download the demos at home this year, which is really cool.
Oh, neat.
But that's
wow.
it's a small sample of what's coming overall. But they're not going to get the media attention. The media's here. They're not at home playing those demos. They're here at E3. Those games are not here at E3.
Yeah.
Adventures of Pip just came out on
That's
the
a
Wii U.
great game.
And we had the guys here, like Brandon hosts a show every week, GT Live, and they were just here, and it works great on the Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
And they were getting a lot of support from Nintendo. Did you guys play with Tom?
Yes.
Almost
Wait,
got
you
to.
guys-
So
Was
great.
this close to it, but then we had to go do Final Bosman, and I never got a chance.
Nice. Mr. Dana Bloodworth is back. Hey, do you want to? I was just gonna go run and check in with Kyle and check in a couple of things. Maybe take a little 5-10 minute break. Do you want to come in here and chat with your old?
Oh,
Your old buddies?
You're not gonna catch me up. I'm just gonna jump in. Okay.
It's a dream
They can
come
catch
true.
you up. They've been in here. John can catch you up. All right, everybody. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna take a brief little break. Take my phone with me.
With our Planet GameCube powers combined.
Right.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys have talked about or said about me behind my back or anything.
All the bad things.
Yeah. Sorry, I went late, but
Would you play? What were you playing? Did you get to play anything?
I'm the most amazing freaking
What? It must be that good because I could not understand anything you just said.
I was doing the Oculus Rift demos and the new crazy controllers
those
Oh, like, God.
single controllers or whatever.
What's the
Both
ring
hands?
do?
Yeah.
Why is there this ring?
because it
around
can sense when you point and when you put your thumb up,
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
and it's also like really smooth. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, how cool or amazing was it?
It's like being in like a mad scientist toy box. It's because I'm in this room with this guy, but this guy is not in this room. He's in another room, but it's like we're interacting and we're like picking stuff up off the table and throwing it at each other. And he's like, "Here,
and
pick
like
this up."
super fast? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we're like he's throwing things into the air and I'm shooting them. And,
Jeez. So it just works. Like it.
yeah, I mean, like it's like the thumb thing is like kind of binary right now. It's like really like a test demo thing, but it's like it works. Like we both picked up like a thing of blocks and like lifted it up together and stuff starts tumbling
That's
off.
crazy.
Apparently Reggie, of president of Nintendo of America, was quoted as saying that VR is not fun. We're not doing VR because it's just not fun. And I thought, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's funny because some of this stuff it reminded me of the way Star Fox is. Like
Oh yeah.
because with like Eve Valkyrie and Riggs and some of those other things, it's like where you look is where you're aiming.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you completely free up your hands to do something else.
Yeah, like if Reggie comes out and says, "Well, VR is too expensive or it's too complicated," I would say, yeah, "Okay, yeah, those are valid
He's
criticisms."
also the same
yeah.
person that said that. Why would you watch streams of games?
Right. Yeah, that guy's a little out of touch sometimes. But I played a VR game actually here at E3.
I did
don't know
too.
if you heard about it. I played a game called SMS Racing, which is
What?
it's a really simple looking game. It's for Gear VR, so it runs on a phone.
Okay, yeah.
But you're playing a very simple, like kind of cartoonish racing game, and also sending text. And so you have to look down in the VR helmet to see your phone and try to send text while you're still driving. And you have to do both, because if you don't respond to the text fast enough, you'll lose friends. So you're trying to win the race, and the writing is so great. It's all very tongue-in-cheek. It's obviously the message of the game is you shouldn't text while you drive, and this game kind of proves it because it's
flipped my car,
impossible.
so,
It's
you
impossible to do this racing while you're trying to send these messages.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened to my car.
Oh no, not the van,
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
the famous van.
Not that van. I just bought a new van 2 weeks
Right.
before the accident.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Did
I
you guys
think I
get to
saw a
play
picture.
Earthbound at all? Any of you?
A little bit, yeah. The
Yeah.
new one, the new one, Earthbound Zero, Earthbound Beginnings.
it's new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did play a little
I
bit of
haven't
it
played it
on Sunday night. It is like 8-bit Earthbound. It's exactly that. If you like Earthbound, I think you should check it out. The writing's maybe not quite as sharp, just it was a different translation, different localizer back then, around 1990, 91, I guess, when they did the original Mother. But it looks like Earthbound, it sounds like Earthbound, it plays like Earthbound, it has all the same kind of charm and sense of humor.
Is it the same game?
No,
it's
no.
very similar
It
though.
is a different story. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another Earthbound, and now it's in English, and you
Yeah.
can download it for like $8, $7,
like $6.99
something like
or
that.
something
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, you have to keep in mind it's a very old school, 80s, late 80s style JRPG. So it's brutal. Like, you have to grind a lot. The battles are really tough. You have to be really careful about item management and stuff like that. I mean, it's not friendly to the player necessarily. I mean, it's based on the original Dragon Quest.
Right.
It's a pretty tough game. But if you like Earthbound, I think you're going to like it. I was really impressed by what I saw. And I've played Mother 3 too, and I think that's next on the hit list. They've got to bring that out.
Yep.
Now that's going to have
It's
to
a
be
matter of
new.
time.
They don't necessarily have a translation just sitting around for that one like they did with Mother 1. But Mother 3 is a great game, totally worth bringing over, and I think the interest is there. They should do right by those fans, and I think they're probably just testing the water right now for it.
Good. Yeah. Chad, if you have any more questions for Nintendo before they get out of here.
Nintendo World Report, not actually Nintendo.
Right, my bad.
We've gotten that a lot. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
People
no
will just,
kidding.
They will just read the first word and be like, "Oh, you're with Nintendo." I'm like, "No."
Except sometimes I say yes when it's when it's to my advantage.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had a lot of people back in the day that thought I wrote for Nintendo. Like, no.
All right. So I got some more questions. All right. You guys all played Star Fox?
Yeah.
A
All right.
lot. Yes.
I know this. I'm sorry, chat. I keep bringing it up, but my disappointment still kills me. You guys are all excited about it? Could you?
Yeah.
All right. You guys are all gamers, so I will take your word. I will buy the game. I will buy it.
But you don't have a Wii U yet. Is this
Don't
a matter
remi-
of
don't,
time?
Don't
or is-
remind me.
He
Is
didn't
this
say
like-
he would play it.
Oh,
He
okay.
said he would buy it.
Like,
Just put it up on a shelf.
I will play the game, but is it worth the time? Do you think it's worth?
I mean, saying that off of an
300
E3 demo is not wise. You're not.
Is it?
You're,
Is
not,
it?
you're new to
alright.
E3, aren't you?
Is it worth? Let's say, is it worth $300?
What game is worth
Yeah.
$300? But
Bayonetta 2.
wow, okay. Well, then why don't you
closer
already
to it.
why don't you already have it? So here's the thing with Star Fox. This is, I believe, Nintendo's at least partially developing this game internally, which would be the
Yes.
first time for
From-
Star
from my
Fox since the
understanding-
90s.
From my understanding, Platinum's basically just doing like the art assets
Right.
for it or something
Yeah,
like
and,
that.
and that's the other good thing is the part that Nintendo's not doing themselves, Platinum Games is doing, and I have a lot of faith in those guys to pull it off
Yeah.
too. Of course, they made Bayonetta 2. I mean, they make a lot of great games. There's been a long string of bad Star Fox games, or just Star Fox games that are so far off of what we loved about the series in the first place. And I understand all the skepticism about it, but from what I played at E3, I think this is a new Star Fox game that plays like you would want a Star Fox game to be. Now the controls are confusing at first, very complicated. It's hard to coordinate all the different, because you're using both sticks and a lot of buttons and motion control at the same time, and sometimes you also have to change and look at a different screen. I mean, it's kind of intense when you're playing
And
Star
it's
Fox.
wonderful.
But it controls really well. It's a deep, complicated game. You can transform anytime you want to, and that totally changes how the game plays. And that first level is at least 15 minutes long.
It's a
I mean,
pretty long level.
which is like
Yeah.
half of the original game's length. So to me, they're kind of building it up to be, it's going to be a big, meaty, single-player adventure with a lot of replay value because you can select different vehicles, you can use the transformations differently.
You can select different vehicles?
Yeah,
I mean, not transformation and
different vehicles.
Well, I think some of, at least I need to go back and watch all the Treehouse Live footage to make sure I have this right. But I believe that through each stage you'll be able to pick a different vehicle. Like for some it might not work out, but you'll be able to take the Landmaster into a level, and then you can transform, and then it's like that kind of like hover tank thing.
a bigger tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
And-
drone also that's
Yeah.
just like it's like a helicopter. You can send it in any direction,
Yep.
like really fine movement. You can imagine the kind of 3D environments where you might have to be flying around lasers and barriers and like go into all the nooks and crannies and the things that you could never do in the R-Wing because it's just that thing's a space jet. It just
Yep.
goes super fast, straight forward all the time, So to me, it looks like there's a lot of variety, but they're not doing the things that they've done so horribly in the past. It's like put you on foot and make you run around as a character and be, shooting things way up in the air and, jumping with bad controls and stuff. I mean, to me, this seems like redemption for Star Fox, and that's
Okay.
why I'm excited for it.
All right. You say the same thing too, right, Blood? You played it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it plays to me like Star Fox 64. It's just you have to get your hands around like where all the buttons got moved.
Did
to.
you have some trouble with that too, with the aiming and everything?
I actually didn't have much trouble with the aiming, but it was like, okay, just finding like, where's the boost, where's
Right.
the barrel roll, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They put a lot of stuff on the second joystick, which they've never had in the past
Yeah,
for Star Fox.
and it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's intuitive. Like once you know it's there, it's just if you played Star Fox 64
Yeah.
30, 40 times, it's
Right.
another story.
The second time I played the demo, it really clicked, and I felt
Yeah.
like I was in control. I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I was playing Star Fox, and that's really all I wanted. Only disappointment I have with Star Fox is that they aren't rendering those characters in the puppet style, which they teased. I mean, why do all the puppet stuff in your digital event if the characters in the game don't look like that? And that's
Yeah.
what they should look like. It'd be great. I mean, if it's based on Thunderbirds, do it like Thunderbirds.
Right.
That would be so cool. And that's kind of the little extra bit of style that game really needs, I think.
Good. All right, you guys can have. I'm 60-40. 60-40 right now, okay? I'm 60% against getting it, 40%, but hey, I was at probably this morning, since I've talked about it all day, I was probably at like 10%. So, what can
Slowly
I
but
say?
surely.
Yeah, slowly but surely. I'll probably be rolling into Star Fox here.
I had a question. Did you guys, either of you, get to check out For Honor?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, really?
For Honor?
What
Yeah.
is For Honor?
No, I don't
It's
know.
from Ubisoft. It's
Oh, okay.
it's a multiplayer like
Is that the
sword
one-
combat game, but it's by the guy that did the Red
Red
Steel
Steel
games.
2, yeah, Jason Vandenberg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool. Like I got to check it out today. Huber and Brad got to check it out. It's great because it's like you have to like move your position of your sword to
Oh,
block
that's cool.
and attack and
You playing with a gamepad? Just
Yeah,
a
just-
regular controller?
yeah.
I liked a lot of what they did with Red Steel 2, so if that guy's making something similar to that, I'm going to have to pay attention.
Red Steel 2, huge improvement over the first one.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah.
We've got 4 minutes till our next segment here. I would like to say thank you guys for answering all of our questions.
Of course.
Chat, if you have any more questions before we leave, please send them our way. But as far as, did you guys get to play any other games from Nintendo? What's a Fatal Frame? Did you play?
Fatal
Sit
Frame,
on the floor.
not at the show.
Was
No.
there a trailer?
There was a trailer.
There was a trailer.
I saw one play in the background there, so yes, there was.
Okay.
Yeah, but not playable. Xenoblade, not playable. It was really
They
sad. And
just
that
have
game,
random
that
TVs
game's out in
with
Japan.
Xenoblade just playing on it, but you can't
Yeah.
actually play it.
That game's finished. It's out
Yeah.
in Japan right now. My friends are playing the retail game and like getting close to the end of it. Why don't you have an E3 demo? I don't get it. Why isn't that here for
Is-
people to try?
Is the translation probably not all the way through?
I mean,
or
yeah,
anything?
that's
That
probably
has
what's
to
holding
be,
it
that
up
has
a little
to be
bit.
it.
This was actually the trailer that they showed during the digital event was the first time we've seen a Xenoblade gameplay with localized text in it at all.
Yeah, but that game is gonna be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so
Coming this
pumped for that
December.
game.
All right, before you get out, what game do you want to see on the console, on the next
Like-
Wii U or the NX? What do you want to see? If
Just-
they're gonna bring one back, what do you want to see?
I want a legit 2D Metroid.
Ooh.
Like
2D.
that's before this E3, I made several comments about how like they better announce a Metroid or else I'll be very upset. And then they did, but it wasn't the one I wanted.
Oh,
I really want to see a side-scrolling 2D Metroid made by Nintendo. Like, I mean, there are a lot of great indie games out there that are doing wonderful things for that kind of style of game, but I want to see Nintendo make something in lines of, Zero Mission or Super Metroid. That's what I want to see.
I mean, my most anticipated game right now is the new Zelda. But I guess that's probably it. Well, I'll say
It's gonna come out on both systems, by the way.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's going to be another Twilight Princess situation.
Yeah.
I think it will come out on Wii U, and if you want to play that on Wii U, you're going to be fine. But I think it'll probably also be a launch title for NX.
Right.
yeah,
really
and I
do.
think for a lot of the same reasons, it's like you can't invest that much money into a game and then like, well,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna buy it.
Well, people will buy it, but maybe just not enough for
Right.
how long it's taken to make it and how expensive. I mean, that's going to be a massive game. You know,
Do you think they've got voice acting in it yet?
they gotta. I mean,
That's behind the
gotta? I don't
times.
know.
Yeah.
well, they
Well,
they
as
got-
we said earlier, 5 years behind.
They got it
Yeah.
because it'll look completely ridiculous if they don't. I mean, again, I playing through Twilight Princess again recently.
It's completely ridiculous there.
It's insane how much text is in that game and
Yeah.
how they're trying to tell a story. They've got characters and they're doing facial expression. They're trying to build relationships with these characters and they don't talk. Even if it's just everyone but Link talking. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. Okay,
But
but
you don't have to give Link a voice.
no, yeah,
he
for
could just
sure.
be like, "Hi, yeah."
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. But if you're gonna have other people in this world, then they've got to talk, and they've got to talk. It's got to be good, Just otherwise, it seems so antiquated and simplistic, and it just seems that these modern games are about production value, and you have to put some production value into it, and that means doing voice, doing it well.
True that. Blood, what do you want to see from Nintendo if they were to raise one?
Well, they already hit the big one, so we'll do Wave Race.
Yeah.
Wave
I'm
race.
down.
Yeah.
Or,
You
or
would
F-Zero.
see HD
or
Wave
F-Zero.
Race.
Or, how about a F-Zero Wave Race crossover?
You could do
Well,
that.
well, there is a game coming to Wii U that's very Wave Race like, Fast Racing Neo, which is
Very F-Zero, you mean?
yes, very very F-Zero like.
Yeah, it is though. Yeah, it looks a whole lot like GX, and it's a little easier. So that's good.
I
That's a
think
good
most
thing.
games are.
Yeah, most games are easier than GX. True.
Well, Brandon, how we doing?
Why asking me, man?
He's just chilling on the couch.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just chilling, hanging out.
I mean, I could go all night, but you probably
You're
don't
really
want
good.
me to.
I asked Kyle Bossman if he's ready for GT time, and he said yes. And then
he's
but this
not
is,
in
it's GT time live. So now you can experience the most crucial part of GT time, which is waiting for Kyle to get his act together. We come in, we sit down, we're ready, and we're chatting, and then it's just like another 5-10 minutes, and then we finally get GT time.
Check the phone. What's going
But,
on?
Right.
What's happening?
It'll be worth it because finally on GT time we're gonna say what we thought of E3,
Oh wow.
and that'll
sounds
be
fun.
something that we haven't really done so far. So it'll blow people's minds.
We're finally going to talk about E3.
I know.
Did you guys? I'm sure you saw the Final Fantasy VII trailer. You guys Final Fantasy fans?
Oh yeah, I've played almost all of them.
Six is my favorite. So.
Oh, there we go. Brandon right there said the same thing earlier. Six is his
And
favorite.
that's like I wish it was just a remake of 6, but I
That's
understand Seven's got the cachet.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how they do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's like I've played through 7. I'm kind of like I think back in the 90s I really enjoyed 7. Today, But I really want to see what they do with this.
Speaking of games that need voice acting,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII remake. That's going to be
It's
interesting.
gonna be a lot of voices.
A whole lot.
Mm.
That's
Whole
probably
bunch.
one of the things that's kept them from doing it so far, I think.
Yeah.
And the world itself is just massive.
Yeah.
It's massive in itself. Okay, let's chat. If you have any questions, let me know. We're still waiting for Kyle. So until John, what do I think about Doom? I think that Doom is, unfortunately, my taste for shooters has it's dribbled down a little bit. I like Doom. I love the way it looks, but I probably really won't play it that much just because everything I saw in Doom, they were in the very beginning of the level, and then it looked like you got to the very end of the game, and you're still fighting the same enemies. So to me, that makes me think that there's no real enemy variety that much. It's just
fun.
yeah, I don't want to fight the same. I don't know. All I can go by is just the demo, so don't crucify me. But that's just how I feel. When are we getting a new Rave Race? Probably not going to happen.
We can dream.
We can dream.
I wouldn't say, I think it's possible. Nintendo releases a lot of racing games. They kind of jump from, franchise to franchise. They did Excite Bike a lot for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did F-Zero for a while. I think they'll probably jump back to Wave Race at some point.
Oh, Wave Race is a classic. It's one of those kinds of games that, like how it's just like F-Zero. F-Zero didn't get a game for how long? What, 10 years probably?
It's been
No,
more than
it-
10 years since the last F-Zero game.
Yeah. Wow. But it hasn't. Yeah, that wasn't a big gap between
think-
them, really.
I'm pretty
Before
sure
that.
the last F-Zero game was Japan only, and I think
GP Legend?
no, what was it, Climax or something? And I think Blood, you reviewed it for.
Climax came before GP
Oh, okay,
Legend,
okay.
Yeah, GP Legend was
I
the
think
last
either way,
one,
I think
and-
you might have reviewed that for Nintendo World Report.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who wants to see that.
Actually, Dan named a Nintendo World Report.
All right.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me if I would rather have a new Bayonetta game or new Devil May Cry from Platinum Games. Theoretically, obviously, I don't know. That's hard. I like Bayonetta too. From the last I heard, Devil May Cry is probably not going to get another game because of the sales from DMC. And their Capcom, as stupid as it sounds, is judging the sales of
The
the
remake,
remake to make another sequel. They're like, oh well, if this sells good, then I guess we'll make another one.
Yeah.
So
Especially with a game that came out like a year and a half before that remake.
Yeah.
came.
Another in a long line of bizarre decisions by Capcom.
yeah,
Yep.
Capcom is I love Capcom, I do, but they're not talking to anybody. They're not talking to anybody. They're
Yeah.
not talking to
I
the
love the
public.
Capcom of like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think the people who made the Capcom games that we love are mostly not at
They're all
Capcom
making
anymore.
stuff on
but
Kickstarter.
I'd love for them to like experience kind of a renaissance, though. I'd love for them to kind of like go into the desperation corner that people always talk about with Nintendo, which clearly Nintendo's not there yet because they don't seem that desperate this year. They just seem like they're coasting until the next big thing is ready. But Capcom, I feel like, is definitely on a downward trend, but maybe they get to a point where they're like, okay, we got to pull ourselves together and we got to make our Final Fantasy or whatever it is and really just kind of come out punching and blow everybody away. And it could happen.
Yeah. They still haven't even announced Dragon's Dogma Online for the West yet.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got another question here. I don't know too much about this, so I won't comment. But what do you guys think about how Nintendo of America handled Devil's Third?
or they didn't.
Yeah,
like
they
that's
didn't.
It's kind of funny because the leading up to E3, like out of nowhere there was just like a weird trailer with Itagaki, like he might have been a terrorist, I'm not sure. But it announced the release date for Devil's Third in Japan. The next day, Europe and Australia also announced release dates for Devil's Third in their respective regions, all coming out in August. Nothing out of Nintendo of America. Digital event rolls around, nothing out of Nintendo of
Look,
America.
Neil,
We
E3
even-
is not the time to announce
we
games.
even
That's right.
we even asked people in Nintendo of America, being like, "What's up with Devil's Third?" And they're like, "Oh, we're not commenting on that game." I'm like, "It's literally coming out everywhere else in like 6 weeks," and I have no idea what's going on. It's probably going to be another situation like
Logistics. Just,
like Disaster Day of Crisis, where it just never shows up in America.
oh my gosh.
But they got 18 new amiibos coming, so please look forward to
Please
it.
understand.
But you can't touch the Yoshi.
Yes.
I did touch him.
Oh,
They wouldn't let me
wait.
hold the Yoshi, but I got to touch
Oh,
him,
right,
and he's,
right.
he's soft.
Yeah.
Like you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Those get dirty pretty fast.
Yeah.
Let anybody touch those. Did you guys get to go see the puppets?
The puppets
yes.
are awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know about
We
that.
conned our way up to see the puppets.
Oh, puppets are
There's-
gonna be man ups.
Yeah, there's puppets and man.
Yeah.
They're pretty great.
We were trying to do a fake interview with the puppets, but they wouldn't let us.
Oh, Kyle showed up.
They weren't very talkative.
Are we ready, Kyle?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
Oh,
Kyle is ready.
everybody, Kyle's ready.
All right.
All right, let's say goodbye and a good thank you to Nintendo Worlds.
Bye.
Report.
Yay.
Report.
Nintendo
Nintendo
World
Report. Thank you,
for having
guys.
us.
Thank you very much for having us.
We had so much fun.
All right, I'm getting off the stage for the first time today. Thank you.
Wow, that's endurance.
Here, you can get another chair. Hold on. Get my shakes on. Thank you, sir.
Please stand
was
by,
great.
everybody.
A lot of fun.
We're
Good to see
doing a
you,
little
Dan.
change
Always.
here.
Not
It's
just getting
a
on your show.
little behind the
All the way
scenes.
with the world.
Enjoy this. Enjoy this behind the scenes look. GT.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if we have. I've actually. This works out well because I've been watching a lot more game trailers.
This is a behind the scenes look at the changeover.
Do that thing.
Get up on that desk.
Oh,
yeah, hi everybody.
at least it's
Are these
coming.
mics on? No, they're not. Okay.
Not on?
No.
Had to turn that off. You ready, Kyle?
Get
Do,
up on
yeah, I
that
can hear myself.
desk. You gotta get up on that desk. No, no,